The following includes pre-recorded audio.
All right. The Sort of Sports Podcast presents The Big Salad. Hosted by the one and only Quinn Maseko.
Thank you, Ryan. Gonna have an explanation for tonight's episode. Tonight, in Ryan's best announcer voice, tonight is the
Mega episode.
And the reason for that is there were some technical difficulties.
Yes.
We were recording late last week because Monday something happened, volleyball game.
Yep.
And then Tuesday something happened.
Yeah, we were booked.
I think there was a volleyball game that night too.
Yeah,
or something.
we were booked crazy.
And
something.
then Wednesday was homecoming. We're here at the Mega episode, so what we're going to do is we're going to run through the script last week. There's a splice of pre-recorded audio, hence the announcement to begin this episode. And that is last week what we decided to do, since it was already 9:45 and it was time to cut off. That's usually when we're done recording anyway. We decided to record our big finish and a couple toss-ups that were pertaining to last week's football games. So that's going to be interjected after happy time. And then we'll have our closing announcement, have a Bridge of Seinfeld, and then we're going to roll right in as a cold open into this week's script, which we have a new game we're going to play.
Yes.
A new game. And
So
Ryan, it's a Ryan original.
Thank you. Yes.
That's how it's going to be. But anyway, so to begin last week's episode was to talk about the two scandals in the NFL. First, John Gruden. John Gruden, it was revealed in a first wave of emails, had used racist language about the league in 2011, and in a second batch utilized homophobic and misogynistic language as well. So after the first batch emails were released, John Gruden resigned from being the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. So, Ryan, do you believe that John Gruden's resignation was the right decision for the Las Vegas Raiders to move on?
I really think it is, because you can't have that type of thing going in a locker room when you're trying to be a competitive NFL team, especially a team like this that has really good assets. I mean, Henry Ruggs the third is a great wide receiver. Darren Waller's one of the best tight ends. Carr's been looking really good. The defense needs to step up, but I'm saying overall this team has potential. It's not like they're a bottom. This isn't the Jets. I mean, I'm saying, it's important if you want to be, and even if you're the Jets, it doesn't matter. If you want to compete, you can't have issues in the locker room and players not trusting you. I mean, a big championship coaches always talk, college especially, about buying in. And they're not going to be able to buy in when they don't even trust their own head coach.
Right.
So when stuff like this comes out, I think he probably lost control of his locker room, realized, and decided to bounce.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think that's what John Gruden in the beginning, I believe, was doing. And after that first batch of emails came out with the racist language, he was weighing his locker room. Because let's remember, the NFL is a majority African-American athletes in its league as players. And especially with last year with the summer and the push for racial and social justice that was rallied around by most of the NFL teams.
They still have it on the end zones.
And racism on the end zones, the little sayings on the back of the helmets as well. So obviously there was a push there for the NFL to back more of its players' motivations into achieving racial justice in the United States. And obviously a situation kind of before the resignation was going to call the NFL's card, What was it going to do? This is the first serious allegation about racism in the NFL since that push began. So, obviously, John Gruden resigned. The NFL had to take no action. They didn't have to suspend him. They didn't have to fire him. I mean, it was only about 3 or 4 days after those
it was a nice, clean exit. I'm saying...
I don't know if it was clean, but it was an exit.
Yeah, I'm saying...
Yes.
There wasn't a big mess where it was they were trying to push him out.
John Gruden took the safe way out.
Yes, that's a better way to say it.
He knew his goose was
safe
cooked.
way out, where it was like he knew he saw the writing on the wall, and he was. Mm-hmm. I mean, at least you appreciate he didn't make a big fuss. He was just like, okay, yeah, I'm out.
Yeah, he didn't defend his language.
Nope, he just left.
He left. He took stage.
He knew it was. He knew it was over. So
he knew it was over. Which I mean, and obviously,
which you can't say for who we're about to talk to in a minute.
Right, and obviously, I got to say real quick that with the Raiders having the first openly active gay player in the NFL.
Yep.
And when the homophobic language came out as well, Carl Nassib took a day off, a personal day after that came out because he was just shocked. I think there's a lot of shock. A lot of people, the perception of John Gruden was not that he was a closeted racist or this flawed character, and then it came out to be truly one of them. So, but the only person thanking John Gruden for this scandal is this next person we're going to talk about, as in
who is
Urban
not
Meyer.
looking like he's going to have a swift exit.
Yes, Urban Meyer, because he was on the spotlight earlier in the week, 2 weeks ago, with his scandal. And Urban Meyer, after losing to the Cincinnati Bengals, decided to, instead of traveling home with the team to Jacksonville, he decided to go up to his restaurant in Columbus and was caught with the video that was posted to Twitter of having a young woman, because she was a woman, I believe in her early 20s, grinding on him in his restaurant bar. So after that, Mr. Khan, the Jaguars owner, said he had lost trust in Urban Meyer. Can he regain that back quickly, or will he be gone sooner rather than later?
Well, I don't want to make any huge allegations, but I think there's been a lot of things that point to Urban Meyer's a bit of a slimy individual. I remember there was issues at Ohio State, and the allegations against was that a assistant coach, correct? And
trainer.
Yeah, and it was like apparently Urban didn't know, which didn't make a lot of sense, being as he was a good friend of his, and then the College of Ohio State didn't really fully back him, and he left. I mean, granted, it was under the whole health thing too. He said that was part of it, but I definitely think that plays a role where it seems to me like Urban always likes to be the big man in the room, and right now he's not with the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're like, hey, dude, you messed up. We don't have full trust in you. And so I'd be honest, I would be shocked if he's coaching them next year, because I think he's not very happy by the fact he's not being, Urban, you're Urban, you can do no wrong. And they're kind of like calling his bluff and being like, no, dude, you can't do that. I don't think he's going to like that all too well. So I'm really thinking, I think by the end of the year he's out. And also, I want to talk about not being able to control your locker room, not riding back with the team. And, them seeing this, that's not going to get you a lot of love, dude. No matter, even if you did win in London. Like, come on.
Right. Yes, I just wanted to look up real quick just to get the specifics on that. On the cases. Yes, it was between an assistant coach who had prior knowledge. Urban had prior knowledge about one of his assistant coaches, Zach Smith, abusing his wife. And after that investigation went on, he said he retired after health reasons, but that was really the big scandal that went on. And more.
And it was the same season he retired.
So, but I think Urban's it's a trickier scandal here, because it's not really anything. It's not professional. It's not anything derogatory or anything. It's basically, this is a personal gaffe. Kind of reminds me of Bill Clinton. It's a personal gaffe of you're hanging out with a young woman's grinding on you. There have been allegations in the past before. So I think it's going to be, it's about code of conduct. It's about, and obviously, I mean, professional-wise, what hurt him is that he chose his personal life going to do that instead of coming back.
That's really a big thing you can push, where it's like, okay, you wanted to take the personal day and not ride back to the team, that's fine. But then when it comes out that this is what you did, it's kind of like the kid who says to the coach, he's like, oh, I'm going to miss practice today because I'm studying. And then he finds him out later gallivanting around. It's like, wait a minute.
Right. Yes.
It's like, wait a minute. Yeah, and then you got to regain that trust.
Right. And now, can he regain that trust? I think, obviously, what we're going to talk on in the second half of the mega episode is that their first win across the pond. But maybe getting that win rallies the locker room back around him a little bit there, because they're finally trying to see the fruits of their labor. But I don't know if the ownership has regained the trust. So I think if he can get it together, he can put together a promising season, maybe a 6-11, a 7-9.
That's promising for Jacksonville.
That would be very promising to be. I think he could stay.
James Robinson's great.
He is good.
I really like him.
Yes, and Kevin Harlan got shipped over to across the pond to do those games. So I don't know how long he's going to be in London, but
he's probably just hanging out there right now. He's just like, well, it's a nice time.
Well, briefly, if you have not seen the reports, the NFL is thinking about extending the international series and going into Berlin, Germany.
Yes.
So I like that idea. I'd like to see maybe some Madrid, Spain.
Yeah.
I'd be okay with that, or some Paris, France. I like it. I like
if
it
the
a lot.
market's there, you might as well push it.
Exactly.
I do think within the next 10, 15 years, we're getting a London NFL team. It's bound to happen.
Okay, maybe. But I think
Vegas has got one. London's the next one.
They need to put more emphasis on Mexico City because the two top teams, the most, or let's say the fan favorites, the two top fan favorites in Mexico is the Pittsburgh Steelers
and the Cowboys.
That's right. So the two historic franchises. So I think that's what needs to happen. They should be like a season opener. Cowboys.
Test the market.
Yep. Cowboys, Steelers, Sunday Night Football to open up the season.
How long have they been, what are the Steelers? Are we talking about Steelers later? Because I have a Steelers take I want to throw in.
We are not talking about the Steelers.
It is not a quarterback-heavy class, and you probably need to be taking one this year. Because I think Ben's done after this year.
Okay, well, after looking at the last two games, I think he's got a lot of left in the tank. Now, last night he had that freak fumble. I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah, I saw it.
I don't know. It's an interesting rule because they got rid of the tuck rule now.
Yeah.
Brady benefited from that because they should have lost that game in 2001. But anyway, that's besides the point. So still won the game. But all right, moving on real quick because the MLB the playoffs are just going down by storm right now. We're already halfway through.
I mean, there's only one game that was they only went to one go win or go home game. There was only one series that went to win or go home.
And that was Dodgers Giants, which is expected because they're both 100-win teams.
Yeah.
So, but what was your reaction last week to the Boston Red Sox beating the Tampa Bay Rays in the ALDS?
Well, I tweeted about it. I was pretty upset because, Randy Arozarena is like the new Mr. October. He's awesome every postseason. And by every, he's only done it twice, but he would have been postseason MVP if they would have won the pennant. It's a definite.
Right.
And I think this Red Sox team just is, usually every October there's a team that gets hot at the right time. We saw it with the Nationals 2 years ago. Last year, the Rays got hot at the right time. Mm-hmm. This year, it looks like the Red Sox.
Yep.
I do think we're moving towards an Astros-Dodgers World Series. But the Braves just had back-to-back walk-off wins over the Dodgers. So maybe it's going to be Braves-Astros or the most unlikely one, Braves-Red Sox.
Right.
But,
you predicted the Braves.
No, I didn't. At the beginning of the year, yeah.
You did. So you're still right there.
Holy crap. I didn't even think about that.
You shouldn't have changed it, but there you go. But
I think I should have changed it. I think it made more sense to change. This Braves team, I don't think anybody was really thinking they're going to be World Series winners unless you lived in Atlanta.
Right, exactly. Well, I would say if it would be your imagination right now that possibly within the next week that all 300-win teams in the MLB are knocked out of the playoffs, you wouldn't have predicted this for a million years. So, the Rays have been bounced. The Giants have been bounced.
Yeah.
So, but my reaction, the Red Sox
and the Dodgers could potentially be bounced, yeah.
Yes, potentially. And the Red Sox, they were the hottest team, I would say, to start off the year.
And now that they're getting hot at the end.
And then they cooled down in the middle. Everybody was worried because they were leading before the All-Star break. Yep. They started to slow down, but they were still leading significantly in the
They
AL
had a good September.
East. And then, yes, they had a good post-Labor Day run to get them back in. Devers, Bogarts, Sale coming back, Evaldi on the mound. Kike Hernandez has been phenomenal. I don't know what happened. What were the Dodgers doing? He was there with them. He's a hidden gem, and then he signed that 2-year, $14 million deal over the offseason last year.
And he's been great.
He's been fantastic. Even though his average is not really come out, it's only a 250, and the home runs are nothing eye-popping on the statistics, but he's just been consistent in the playoffs.
Yeah, he's been great
compared to the regular
Devers,
season.
I do think, is the best player on that team, though.
Well, okay.
Amber Bogarts.
Bogarts, I was going for Bogarts.
Bogarts is very underrated. I love Bogarts.
Bogarts, yes. So, no, I've always been a Red Sox fan since about 2013. Big Poppy.
Big last run.
Yes, that big last run. Then they had the Boston
Beards.
Strong.
The Beards that year. Yes. Boston Strong. That was a good year.
Boston Strong. That's why I really liked it. And the best one was, maybe we can get a picture of this, or the video of this, when Big Poppy hit that home run and the cough had the arms in the air. So that's yes, I like that. I like that as well. So 2 weeks ago, also Alabama, who was ranked number 1 in the AP poll, then went down hard against unranked Texas A&M. What was your takeaway from that loss?
Well, they don't really play anybody big again until the SEC championship, but I'm really starting to think, and part of this is what?
Auburn.
That's true. You can never write Auburn off.
LSU has just got a big win over Florida, even though Coach O, we'll talk about that in the later episodes.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that, yep.
Coach O is gone.
Auburn, you can never write them out of the Iron Bowl. They always make it competitive, no matter what. And Saban seems to be in very grumpy Saban mode. I just saw today he was showing a bruise that he had from Texas A&M charging the field after they beat Bama. So he's in grumpy mode, which I can't decide is going to contribute to a better run here or a worse run,
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, they got to keep their eyes on winning. They got to win out and get in the SEC championship. But honestly, I think they're going to lose. I think it's Georgia's year. It's really looking like Georgia's year.
Yeah, I mean, to react to this, Alabama, defense couldn't stop them in the passing game or the running game, and it looked, A&M had their way with Alabama, and it looked like they were a top 10 team at A&M finally.
Yeah, they did.
They were pre-ranked number 5 in the AP poll to begin the season, so they look like what they should be. They're back up in the AP poll now, obviously, after that big win they won again this past weekend. But
it's like you and I talked, though. There's and we'll talk about this more when we talk about Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
It's like nobody looks unstoppable, but there's there's 7 teams that look good. So It's making a really interesting season. The only team that I'd say looks like unbeatable, quote unquote, is Georgia, but I think even them, I could see them losing the SEC championship to Bama, and then it's like, well, now what do we do?
Right, it's all over the place, yeah. Yeah, I did. We'll talk briefly here since the pre-recorded toss-up about Kentucky, Georgia's in this half of the episode. But reaction to that game real quick. 30 seconds there.
I'm glad Georgia won and convinced everybody that they are the top team in college football.
Well, I really thought Kentucky would have given more of a run for their money.
I thought they would too.
In the first quarter, they had them. They were running, play action.
Yep.
Levis was doing whatever he could do.
Now Michigan State's been looking good for you.
Well, let's not. We're into the bye week, so I'm
sorry. I just been thinking about it. I was like, well, since we'll talk about more of Iowa. We'll talk about more.
Here's the reality. How about you say this? Can you admit now that the Big Ten East is better than the SEC West? Because look at the rankings. 4 teams in the top 9 right now. Come on. And the Big Ten has all 5 of their ranked teams in the top 11.
Georgia's SEC East, right?
The Big Ten just has. They have 6 teams now ranked because of Purdue.
Georgia's SEC East, right?
Correct.
Well, then I think you're right because I think Michigan State's a playoff team. I think.
No, I don't know about that, but okay.
I'm saying potentially a playoff team, and Iowa has potential, depending on who loses. Ohio State's back in the mix now, so Well,
right now Iowa technically they're basically in second place because Purdue owns the tiebreaker over them. Either they're a half game behind because of the bye, but really, I don't know.
Now, what I find interesting is that Cincinnati right now is ranked 2nd, right?
It is. Yes,
now that is very exciting.
I like them.
I love what they're doing over there. I think.
Luke Fickell. He's a good coach.
You think we could see a Georgia Cincinnati Bearcats
championship? I don't know about that, but
Bulldogs Bearcats.
I think the Bearcats definitely will make the playoff. They got to win out.
They got to win out.
They got to win out because if they blow it, they blow it.
That would be the
out.
first time if they were in the national title, would be the first time a non-Power 5 was in the national title.
Which I like it. I like that. Coast Carolina's undefeated still.
Yep.
Remember that last year? It just kind of felt like Cardington softball at the end of the season. That was picking up games left and right, and that was the best pickup game. BYU, Coastal Carolina when they picked it up in November.
Yep.
In December.
Yep.
I liked it a lot. So.
Coastal was so good last year.
Yes. And
I kind of like the idea
BYU
of power conferences,
well.
Quinn, for this reason, because if Cincinnati was in a super conference, if there's 2 super conferences, Cincinnati's in it, like a 20 team super conference, and Cincinnati's in it, we'd know how good they are because they'd be playing Bama, they'd be playing Ohio State.
Right.
That's what's nice about the super conference is you get a good idea of who's good and who's not.
Well, yes. Here's the thing I like to do with Cincinnati, and it's very simple. So I'll get them in the Big Ten.
That's fine too.
Done. I solved that issue real quick. Because then it gives Ohio State an in-state rival a little bit there.
And, their football program, it's the natural way that it always goes is you have a big year where you outperform, and then you get more recruits, which then makes it so you have another big year where you outperform, which gets you more recruits, and then...
And you got to throw in the transfer portal now because you can recruit players off of that.
Yeah, because people are like, whoa, you guys won the I mean, you guys made the playoff and you weren't even Power 5. Now you're in the Big Ten. I'll go.
Oh, yeah.
Get my name and likeness recognition.
Right. I mean, I just read a very good
I just
article.
saw a commercial for Dr. Pepper with DJ Gungale.
Oh.
Gungale?
Nope,
Two lays?
it's just lay.
Just like the thought. Gungale.
Yep, according to Reese Davis. That's what he said.
Yep, a Gungale. But
so,
yeah.
Not Reese Davis. Chris Fowler, excuse me.
Where is that?
No, but I read this very good article by the Michigan State football beat writer for The Athletic, and he was talking about how Mel Tucker formulated their pitch to get their 20 transfers in to win them over. It was very interesting how they, did that, layered that attack to get those players to win over to come into the program. That's the big reason why Michigan State's undefeated right now.
Yeah.
So,
You're going to the game, right? Which game are you going to this year?
So, well, it's a good thing that my dad does not listen to this, too. And because he'd know all my plans and all my birthday gifts and Christmas gifts for him. But, yes, so for his birthday, my dad's birthday is November 9th, we're going to go. Never seen a Michigan State game ever in person. Football, we've seen basketball, but never in East Lansing. So we're going to go up for Senior Day, which is the last game of the year, at home against Penn State, and they play for the Land Grant Trophy because there's a rivalry trophy there. And so hopefully it's going to be a noon or a 3:30 game because I got to be back here, so I'm going to the Pittsburgh Steelers Cincinnati Bengals game in Cincinnati on that Sunday at 1 o'clock. So we got to be busting some – we got to bust. I'm just going to not finish that phrase. We got to bust down here because he's not going to the game in Cincinnati. But I am, and I got to get back here because I just spent $214 on a ticket. So I got to go.
Yeah.
So
you see Burrow live.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna see Watt take him down. Hopefully this time. But
this time.
Anyway.
We'll talk about them on on the next episode of the new segment.
Yes, we will with the new segment. All right, time for toss up here.
All right.
And 2 of these are in the pre-recorded, so there are 4 left, and we'll begin. If we remember last week, who got the more signature win?
Now, at the time, it was the Chargers,
the Los
and
Angeles
I still
Chargers,
think that Chargers win holds up.
Or Buffalo Bills. Yes.
Yeah, sorry, I cut you off.
Go ahead. Chargers.
Chargers, because I think Herbert looked really good, and the Browns, everyone, even though the Browns' record doesn't reflect it, we all know they're a very good team and probably a playoff team. And so we knew these are 2 teams, potentially AFC Championship right there, Chargers, Browns. But we'll have to talk more about the Chargers, because we all know what we're going to talk about when we talk about the Chargers.
That's right, later
But
on.
I'm saying, I do think that win showed that the Chargers are in that upper echelon of teams, like the Browns are. I think everybody already knows the Browns are in the upper echelon. They're not going to fall off no matter who they really, because they only lose to good teams. All their losses are against good teams.
The Browns?
Yeah.
Yeah, they lost to the Chiefs, Cardinals, Chargers.
Yeah, so I'm saying there is no shame in losing to any of them. The Chiefs is the is the weakest team out of there because, we're about to talk about the Chiefs, so I'll save that.
Yeah, we'll save that. I agree, the Chargers, because they're the up-and-coming team. I mean, the Bills, they're
what the Chargers
they're
used
the
to be.
season. They're the season
They
team.
used to be like the Chargers.
Right, when Josh Allen, his 3rd year, I'd say.
Yeah, like last year, yeah.
Or 2nd year, excuse me. Because they got
No,
the playoffs.
it was
No,
his
the
3rd year
playoffs
last
they got in
year.
their 2nd year. They're playoffs in the 2nd year, 2019.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
I was thinking of last year as like, I felt like
Well, it's his real breakout, but this is Herbert kind of like Josh Allen then.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot more hype around Herbert than there was.
I mean, because obviously it's more comparable to Josh Allen in his 2nd year because Patrick Mahomes was already on another level.
Yeah, Mahomes
so
was
can't do that.
crazy.
But it's the Chargers because they're up and coming. The Bills are seasoned. They should be in a dogfight with the Chiefs, but obviously they blew the Chiefs out at Arrowhead. Yeah. So I would say the Chargers and Herbert. I agree. Herbert has looked great. He's been in control. He's been in command. The new coach has been fine. I know the new coach has been great. I still kind of disagree with that firing with Anthony Lynn. I thought it was a little premature last season, but the Chargers, they put an exclamation point on there. They beat the Chiefs. They've beaten the Browns. They're building a very good resume to head hopefully to a playoff berth this year. Next, what should Andy Reid be more concerned about? The Chiefs' offense or Chiefs' defense?
I feel like he needs to be more concerned about the defense, but as I said last week when we didn't record, but we were meant to record, I honestly believe we can officially say this is a Chiefs down year. I mean, they have not looked good, and Mahomes, I still think is Mahomes. I don't think it's a thing where they figured out Mahomes. Now, he has been throwing a lot more interceptions, but I honestly believe he's having a down year, which is, that's going to happen. And he is having a weaker year, but I still think he's, the best quarterback, or at least, if you really want to argue, Rodgers, Brady really is the best quarterback when it's playoff time. I'm saying in the season, he's usually like second or third. But I'm saying Mahomes, to me, is the best quarterback, and if you want to argue second or third, that's fine. But I think he's really trying to carry this team, knowing that it's weaker this year. Hill's been good, but he hasn't been as great as the past.
Nope.
They don't seem Hardman hasn't been, you know what I mean?
Yep.
There as much. They don't have Watkins anymore, so I think their wide receiver core is pretty much just Tyreek Hill at the moment.
Right.
And then Travis Kelce is still Travis Kelce, but that I think the offensive line, like we talked, is having a lot of issues.
Yeah.
And the defense is having a lot of issues too. It's not like Tyrann Mathieu is not doing as well as usual. So Matthew,
yes.
Sorry. And I've been messing up. I messed up 2 names already, man.
No, you got the first one on DJ Wiongale, and then you would correct yourself to make it Lele.
Yeah, I don't know why I thought it was Lele.
So, but anyway, that's what we thought about it originally.
Tyrann Mathieu, that's what it was that messed me up. He hasn't been as crazy as usual.
Nope.
So I think honestly you got to look at the whole team, but I would be more concerned with the defense, just because I think Mahomes is still Mahomes. You don't need to worry about him. He's having a down year, but next year they could come out and lose one game the whole year. It just depends. Right. I think Mahomes is over pushing because he's trying to get them wins,
right,
which is thus making him take riskier plays, which is getting him more interceptions.
Right.
So I don't think it falls on Mahomes. I think it falls on all the other pieces. Now, granted, next year you make changes.
He's throwing the ball still. I don't care.
That's
I
don't
care what you say.
I'm not arguing he's having a bad season for him. I'm not arguing this is a weaker season. Okay. But I'm saying it doesn't solely fall on him. I think you need to look at the whole offense.
No. I agree.
Because I'm saying this isn't Mahomes isn't as good as he used to be. I'm like, he's having a weaker season, but he's still, yeah.
On this question, I wish there was a both option.
Me too. I think I look at the whole team.
But I'm going to agree with the defense. The defense was decimated by Buffalo. They held up well against the Chargers, and they've also lost to the
Raiders. They lost to the Raiders. They lost to the Chargers.
Raiders. Yes, it was the Raiders then. Yes. So, I think it's... The secondary is atrocious. The rush defense is worse by the Chiefs. So, but obviously the offense is the more fixable one, because if the turnovers come down, they win games. Now, they won on Sunday
against the
Washington football team. Got a better defense, but...
Washington football team has not been as good as you and I wanted.
No, they haven't. But they won 31-13. They turned the ball over 3 times. Washington turned the ball over twice, but 3 times, and they still came out and win because it was an inferior opponent. So, it's got to cut down on the turnovers. It's got to cut the turnovers down.
I honestly don't. Right now, barring a Chargers fall off, I don't know if the Chiefs are making the playoffs.
And we still got to say that the Raiders are still competitive. They're 4-3.
Yeah, they could.
4-2.
Well, they've already lost the first game with both them, so that the Chargers probably beat them again.
Maybe.
And then the Raiders, they'd have to steal one from the Raiders.
Right.
But I'm saying, honestly, it doesn't look good for them because they play in a tough division. Really, the only thing they benefit from is they play the NFC East.
Right.
But I think the Cowboys could potentially beat them. We talked about it. It's a mid-season game, so the Cowboys will still be good because it's not a later week.
Right.
Late in the year, the Cowboys fall apart.
You're playing another tough division as in the AFC North, which has, even though the Steelers have been a little bit down, they'll still put up a fight somewhat with a better defense. Might lose, but you're gonna be pushed by the intra-conference and the inter-conference play. So,
I think they got to look it over, but I still think Mahomes is very good. I think he's having a down year, and he's having a down year, which I think is also leading to the team having a down year.
True.
So they're having a negative effect on each other.
True.
I think that's what's going on.
So.
But the other issue could be is if Andy Reid keeps having problems.
As in health?
Yeah. That could also be hindering the team. And if he steps down after this year, does Bieniemy step up as head coach? Does that help? We don't know.
It's possible. You could say it's possible.
Yeah.
But, anyway, next, What is Penn State more concerned about, losing Sean Clifford or losing to Iowa 2 weeks ago?
Honestly, I'd say the Iowa loss because I think that pretty much just knocked you out of making the playoffs. I don't think, unless they would get a huge win, they play Ohio State still, don't they?
Who?
Penn State.
Yes.
If they beat Ohio State, then maybe, but it's looking like they're not.
They got to play Michigan and Michigan State, too.
If they win out, they could make the playoff, but I don't think the Penn State team's going to win out. I thought they gave Iowa a really good fight, but I think Iowa's proven to be the better team. So,
yeah.
I think that it should be the Penn's. I mean, honestly, I understand leaving Sean Clifford is bad, but it doesn't really matter all too much if you're not even making. I mean, you might as
right. If you're in a position
how much you care about your bowl game, I guess.
Right. Well, I mean, obviously losing Sean Clifford was big because you had no veteran experience out there. Quarterback, 4 interceptions were thrown in that game, and he was sidelined with a back rib injury. So how long does that take to heal? They had a bye this past week.
Play Rutgers this week, right?
They'll be interesting to see.
For Illinois.
Who they play Illinois this week. They're favored by 23.5. So it'll be interesting to see how they
react.
Yeah, how they react. Or is Clifford out there? Clifford might be out there. I mean, you got to remember in college they don't have to disclose injuries because it's a student. It's there's FERPA, there's HIPAA, and those laws that bar college university programs from disclosing injuries about athletes. So, I would say you should be more concerned about losing Sean Clifford because if he's not there, you're not going to be able to be in a position to go into the playoffs
that makes sense.
Or make it into there. But losing to Iowa did not help. Iowa, which we'll talk about later, showed it had a lot of weakness. It has a lot of weakness at its quarterback position. Right now. So, last one. Which team is in a bigger tailspin after starting out undefeated? The Denver Broncos or the Carolina Panthers?
I'm going to say my Panthers because there's obviously more belief in them starting off 3-0 there was the Broncos. Like everybody knew how the Broncos were.
Oh, okay.
Whereas I think my Panthers had a lot of hype, a lot of it coming from me. I still think there's a good opportunity for the wild card, but being 3-3 makes it very painful. They got to make some big wins. That means beating the Bucs when they play them. They pretty much have to beat the Bucs twice. Like they can legitimately lose about 7 games and still be an NFC wild card, but that's only 4 more games out of 11. So you got to win 7 more and lose only 4. So
there you go. That's the recipe for success there, Matt Rule.
Yeah, so I think they can do it. I love I still love what the Panthers have going on. The offensive line needs to get better this offseason. I mean, if they could do it now, I'd love it. But they're a very young team. I mean, one of your best players on the team is Brian Burns, 3rd year in the NFL. Another one of your best guys, C.J. Henderson, 3rd year in the NFL. Another one of your good guys, J.C. Horn, is a rookie, and he's injured. Darnold's only in his 4th year, and it's pretty much his 1st year. McCaffrey's not in any way aging terribly. I mean, he's only had 2 injuries. He's injured, but I mean that was how it was last year too. And then Hubbard was a good pickup. Hubbard's been good. He had a good week this week, not last week. He had a good week this week. So Hubbard's been good, and I like Tommy Tremble. So I don't even talk about DJ Moore. I think Robbie Anderson needs to be getting more target. I mean, DJ Moore's been awesome. So Robbie Anderson needs to be getting more targets.
Panthers games. I just want to let you know.
Robbie Anderson needs to get more targets. Maybe they work with Terrence Marshall Jr. more. I'd love to see him, 2nd-round pick from LSU, wide receiver. But, I mean, within the next 3 years, I honestly believe they're going to be in the NFC Championship. This might not be the year to do it. So, I mean, I would love to see a wild card appearance this year, and I still believe that's the ceiling. But it looks like we might be missing it. And I really don't want that to happen. But I don't think the Broncos are a little more dire because it's like the Broncos, you're not really building something amazing there, whereas the Panthers are still a building young team. The Broncos have good pieces. I like Sutton. I like the defense.
Jerry Jeudy.
Yep, I like Jerry Jeudy. But it's not like Bridgewater's going to – you're not sticking with Bridgewater. They're going to probably find something else.
Statistically, he's been fine.
He has been. I had him in DFS, and he scored 33 points. So that was nice. I appreciated it. He was a cheap salary. Less than Baker Mayfield, 3 times the points. So that's pretty impressive.
That's all you can do. I'm going to say the Broncos.
Really?
Because
you and your Broncos.
The reason is because the Panthers, and their 3 games they've lost, so against the Cowboys, they had the lead at one point.
Yep.
And blew it. Against the Eagles, Darnold threw 3 interceptions. That's what caused them to lose that game. And then they just lost to the Vikings in overtime, and they had chances to win there.
I will say, what I do like about this Panthers team is that they continue to fight even when they start losing. I mean, the Cowboys game, they scored 2 more touchdowns at the end to make it look actually reasonable, and then they came back in that Vikings game. They were down 2 touchdowns with 5 minutes left.
Right.
So I'm saying
had some fight there. They had some fight.
I like the fight, but, history's written by the winners. You got to win.
Right. So the Panthers have better things. They have easier things they can fix there. The Broncos, they lost to the Ravens. They got destroyed by the Ravens. They got beat. The Steelers had a wide lead, gave it up in the end, but they couldn't overcome that big deficit they had. And then they were beat by the Raiders by 10 this past weekend, especially with the long ball. So I think the Broncos should be concerned that they're just spinning it, and they're also in a very, very difficult division. Between themselves, who started out undefeated, the Raiders started out undefeated, the Chiefs, who are still no easy pushover, and the Chargers, who are hot and up and coming. So I would say that Old Mile High better watch out, because they might just keep on rolling into an avalanche into Denver. But go ahead. And now it's time for Ryan's first special section of the evening.
All right. So starting off the mega episode, I'm saving the Trevor Lawrence and how I think they run a lot of RPOs and more of a college offense there. We're going to save that for next week. For the mega episode, we've got one that's the Tom Brady one we've been talking about with the long ball passes, and then one that is not that is a little bit of a surprise. It's actually not even sports related at all. So that's what's going to be fun about this episode. I should have the numbers. I had them saved. So I looked at his attempts not last year. So far, 2021. So yeah, so far this year with the Bucs. And he has attempted 75 passes for more than 31 yards, 50 that were 21 through 30, and then 50 through 11 through 20. So he's been throwing the ball deep, and you're like, okay, well, how does that compare to everything else? So here are Brady's years where he threw 20-yard completions. Granted, that is not a target, that is a completion.
Yes.
So receivers have to factor into this.
Yes.
But I also think if they're open, there's a higher chance he targets. So, 2011, he threw 71 20-plus yard completions. 2020, 63. So I was like, okay, so I was right.
That's fairly comparable.
Yeah. His biggest
10 years ago. Yes.
Yep. But 2017 was 62, 2019 was 60, 2005 was 59, 2015 was 58. So really, it's really not that different. 2010's 53, 2007's 56. It's pretty much in that 50 to 60 range. So it's not as big of a margin as I thought it'd be. The only number that's really an outlier is the 2011 season with 71. So I thought the outlier would be the Bucs, but no, I'm wrong. He doesn't throw it get long ball completions anymore than they used to.
It would skew his average higher because he threw 63 last year. Because if he's consistently, what I'm going to take from that is the mean would have been in the Patriots around
55.
Yep. So you're skewing it a little higher, so a little above. So it'll be interesting to see after the end of this year, because now you've had already a year under your belt in the Bruce.
His average will go up.
Byron Leftwich offense. And Tampa Bay.
We'll have to check in at the end of the year and see if they went up again, because if it's back-to-back 60 plus, then it's true.
Mark that down.
But it wasn't. Yep, I'll have to mark that down. But it wasn't anything more than I thought it'd be.
Right.
It was his biggest year was 2011. So I thought it would honestly be his biggest year last year. So
right, I agree, because it did seem like he was throwing the ball deeper. Now that maybe he has Antonio Brown for a receiver for all season, that might be the difference as well.
Well, yeah.
I am proud that Antonio Brown did thank Big Ben in
one
of his press conferences.
Even though they have a lot of beef.
Because he has played with the two of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. And between Ben Roethlisberger and Tom Brady. So he should be blessed that he's been able to have that opportunity. Is that it for the special section?
Yep, that's all it is for this one.
All right. Happy time, people. Happy 52nd birthday last Wednesday, Nancy Kerrigan. Nancy Kerrigan won the bronze medal for figure skating in the Winter Olympics of 1992 and the silver medal in 1994. But Kerrigan is remembered mainly for being the victim of the incident between her and Tonya Harding. Her and Tonya Harding had a very tense rivalry in figure skating in the early 90s. And ended up being that Harding's boyfriend came in, masked, and hit Kerrigan with a lead pipe in the shin, causing her to be injured as she trained up for the 1992 Olympics. She obviously got to skate. Harding was never as good as she was supposed to be advertised. I think that scandal really hovered over her, and Kerrigan was able to win the bronze there. And then obviously the next series for the Olympics, they started alternating every 2 years with the winter and the summer. So in 94, Kerrigan come back and she placed silver there. If you have not seen it, ESPN 30 for 30, the price of gold, or the price for gold. I cannot recollect that specific preposition, but it is on there. It talks about, there are exclusive interviews there between Harding and others around that incident and the rivalry. I encourage you to check it out. It's usually on Amazon Prime, or if you have ESPN Plus, a subscription, it's for free, correct?
I think so, right?
Okay, that must be.
ESPN Plus, yeah, it's
know.
there.
You should know. Anything to say about Nancy Kerrigan?
I actually forgot that this thing happened, so you kind of made me remember. I should probably watch that 30 for 30.
And don't forget, they also had a biographical drama on here too, or what I call a biopic on Tonya Harding, I, Tonya, came out 3 years ago.
Oh, yeah. No, I remember that now.
Yeah, so maybe check that out.
I forgot about that. I have not
watched it.
Who was that? It was apparently very good.
I know it was. I'm pretty sure Rotten Tomatoes, which is what I use for my standard of movies, was in the high 80s for that.
I remember that had great reviews. It was nominated for Best Picture.
2017, excuse me. I thought it was 2018.
It was apparently very good. Margot Robbie? Is that who it was?
It was Margot Robbie.
She's great.
Yep.
She's a very good actress.
She's a very good actress.
She's very good.
She's been in biopics recently. She was in the one also. Oh my God.
Cruella DeVille. I'm kidding.
No.
The Cruella DeVille. I was a joke.
What is it? It is.
Bombshell?
No.
You thinking of Bombshell?
Yes, Bombshell. Yes. She's in that biopic. Thank you. And
she was also in The Big Short. She was also in Big Short.
Oh,
so she's been doing a lot of She's been not non-fiction, but a lot of
Australia. I thought she was.
She's been doing a lot of filmography that's more based off true stuff, essentially.
Yes.
I don't know what you call it.
All the biopics.
Yeah, a lot of biopics.
She's in the Wolf of Wall Street.
She's in The Big Short. She's in Wolf of Wall Street. She's in I, Tonya, and she's in
She was also in Mary Queen of Scots.
Yep. And she's in Bombshell.
And yes.
And Cruella DeVille, the biopic of Cruella DeVille.
So, and she's also been. She's going to be in the new Suicide Squad.
I'm kidding. Was she even in the Cruella DeVille movie? Was that her? I can't remember who that was.
What is that? She's also was Harley Quinn in Suicide Squad. What is it? What's the movie?
No, they made a freaking Cruella DeVille movie,
Who's
and
Cruella
no one cared.
DeVille?
It was Emma Stone. That's who it was.
Oh, you mean
Cruella DeVille?
Yes.
Like from friggin'
yes.
101 Dalmatians. That movie looked really bad, and apparently it wasn't very good.
It was not.
But I don't care. Like, I didn't think it looked good, so I just didn't go see it. But
I didn't see it either.
It was Emma Stone is who it was.
Yes.
But I just remember that coming out, and I was like, oh, crap, I forgot that movie existed.
Right. Exactly.
Cruella DeVille.
Oh, Disney. Pumping out new material.
I don't like the live-action remakes. It doesn't make sense to me.
I agree. Scooby-Doo ones, well...
Hey, I love the Scooby-Doo ones.
Not Scooby-Doo and Scooby-Doo 2, Monsters Unleashed. Don't like those two. Now, the ones they did on the Cartoon Network premieres in 2009, 2010, like those way better. Way better. With
brown-haired Fred?
I know, Robbie Amell. I know, brown-haired, but it was better.
Is he related to Stephen Amell? Like the guy that plays...
You're going to have to look that up.
I will look that up.
While you're looking that up, I'm going to wish a happy anniversary to the Cleveland Indians. On 2 Sundays ago, the Cleveland Indians...
He is. It's Stephen Amell.
I'm sorry. It would not be... Yes, 2 Sundays ago.
Yes.
The Cleveland Indians won their last World Series title against the Boston Braves, who were in the National League. That's when Boston had 2 teams. Won the series 4-2. And ever since then, the Cleveland Indians, they have played in the World Series 4 times to try and break their dry spell. First in 1954, but they were swept by the New York Giants. In 1995, they lost to the Atlanta Braves. In 1997, they lost to the Florida, now Miami Marlins. And in 2016, they lost to the Chicago Cubs, who broke their own 108-year dry spell. But now the Indians, it's been 73 years in 1948 when they won their last World Series title, are gaining up slowly and slowly up on that 100-year record. Ryan, you got anything to say about the 73-year dry streak for World Series?
I would love to see them break it, but whenever they do, it's going to be the Guardians, so it's kind of a sad thing there. The Indians will never win a World Series. Well, I mean...
It's still Cleveland.
Yeah, I know. I just think it's weird. Like, that was your name for a 73.
It'd be like saying the Cleveland Naps never won a World Series.
I guess it's true. It's just weird. I guess it's just weird that, like, you had a team name for not more than 70 years. They've been the Indians forever, and it's going to be different when they eventually do win a World Series. Which is kind of weird to think about. I don't know. But yeah, I would like to see it broken because we live in Ohio, so it'd be fun to go up to a World Series game.
I mean, I'm a Reds fan, so I don't know if I have really a leg to stand on.
I'd go. I'm not an Indians fan. I'm not a Guardians fan yet.
Yeah.
But
you're a Cubs fan.
So
you're all Chicago. You're there. You like Cubs, like the White Sox. You like the Braves.
Braves are Atlanta.
I know, but you're still big on Chicago, and you like the Braves.
What do you mean? I like a lot of National League teams.
Yeah, because it's the best.
Yeah, the only real American League team I'm drawn to is the White Sox. And a little bit of the Mariners.
Oh, because you like Nellie Fox. That's why.
Yeah.
All right, happy trails to wins for the Detroit Lions, Indianapolis Colts, and Matt Amodio. On the last two Sundays ago, let me say it that way, the Detroit Lions lost to the Minnesota Vikings on a last-second Greg Joseph 50-yard field goal, similar to how they lost to the Ravens, Justin Tucker. Indianapolis Colts lost to the Baltimore Ravens. And I'm sorry, that was on Monday night, after blowing a 16-point lead in the fourth quarter. And also on Monday night, last Monday, Matt Amodio, who was the biggest consecutive, had the longest consecutive winning streak on Jeopardy, second longest behind Ken Jennings at 38 games, lost to Jonathan Fisher, a PhD student and actor. Amodio left the stage with $1,518,601 in earnings, and he's been compared more to Ken Jennings and James Holzhauer now, even though Brad Rutter was in the GOAT.
Greatest of all time thing.
Greatest of all time. And really, he's won the most money because of the tournaments. He's won the $1 million twice. But really, I wish they kind of redo that tournament now. Too bad Alex is not here living with us with Jennings, Holzhauer, and Amodio.
Yeah.
So, anyway, now for your entertainment, please listen to the pre-recorded section from last week. Because of some technical difficulties, we will be recording. This is a pre-recorded session for the mega episode involving picks for the games that are prior to Monday's recording of the rest of the mega episode. So to begin, who's going to win tonight in the series in the NLDS, the Los Angeles Dodgers or the San Francisco Giants?
Gotta take the Giants because I like joy and happiness in life, and I hate the Dodgers, and I mean the Dodgers pitching is taking a big hit from some weird circumstances this year, injuries, Trevor Bauer being crazy, and other things, and even then their pitching is still pretty much the best in the MLB, but I gotta take the Giants. They got it going on.
Well, I'm going to take the Giants as well, and one of the reasons is tonight, the Dodgers are pitching a bullpen game, so they are going to pitch, and the game's already started tonight here on Thursday, and they've already pitched. They're pitching one pitcher basically an inning, which is going to be brutal to get. It's a slog. I mean, you're going to be using arms that are not rested. Maybe Walker Buehler warms up and comes in for a couple innings like he did on 3 days rest before. I mean, it's crazy, but I would say. I'm looking for the Giants to win because they have a better. I mean, their lineup, their offense is there, but the pitching is there tonight. I mean, they have a starter that's went 11-3 this season. That's pitching, so I'm going to go with the Giants.
All right.
Toss-up, which team is still undefeated in college football after Saturday? The Georgia Bulldogs or the Kentucky Wildcats?
Well, you mentioned the point spread is crazy in Georgia's favor. What is it?
21.5 points in favor of Georgia. And ESPN is saying through their metrics of
percent winning, right?
Percent win. Yeah, but there's
whatever it's called. It's like the prediction. I forget what it's called. Yeah, I forget.
The BPI, the PI, the something. The
It's
FPI. The FPI.
Yeah, it is.
The FPI. Okay, is saying that Georgia is going to win 95.4% of the time when this is simulated. So I don't believe that.
I say it's like
true.
70%.
Right.
And I would only favor Georgia by like 10 points.
Right. I mean.
And
right.
you
Who
said
are you taking?
I'm taking Georgia.
You're taking Georgia.
But like the Kentucky's been awesome, and it'd be cool to see them on top of the SEC.
Yes, I would. So I'm gonna do because the spread is so crazy. If I am a betting man, I'm taking the spread and Kentucky covers. Yeah. Kentucky covers. But realistically, I should be taking Georgia to win. But I'm going to take the underdog Kentucky because everybody's going to leave them out for dead. They're a basketball school, and everybody thinks they're just not going to be. I mean, they're just not going to be. Competitive at all in this game, and I think that's crazy. I mean, they have an interesting run. I mean, their offense is all RPO. Mark Stoops has got that. Levis, their quarterback, he's played well. What's really big is they've been really on running, and that's been where the offense has been the foundation of Kentucky. And that's when they had Benny Snell and they had Josh Allen, the defensive end, not for the Jaguars. Now they had that team. They beat Penn State in the bowl game. So that was
Josh Allen's crazy in college. Yes. He's still really good now.
So, but Rodriguez, he's already ran for 768 yards this season. That's why.
No, they're an underrated team.
I think they're an underrated team. So that's why I think that's going to be there. I'm going to pick them. And hopefully what we'll do is we'll put this picture up of my grandpa and I have a bucket hat in Michigan State, but he's got a cowboy hat with Kentucky. So hopefully we'll put a picture of that up here so you can just see the pride there of Betsy Lane, Kentucky. So anyway, now on to the big finish, final 90 seconds.
All right, here we go.
We got a special six selections here, and time starts now. First in the WNBA, who's going to win the series? The Phoenix Mercury or the Chicago Sky?
I should take the Mercury, but I like the underdogs taking the Sky. They've been on a really hot streak.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to take the Sky too because the hometown kid, old Candace Parker, is back home.
Candace has been awesome
for her Chicago Sky, so I'm going to say that I'm going to bet big on her, and they're going to take home the championship. And now into Week 6 for the NFL, the Washington football team versus the Chiefs.
I would love to take WFT, but you got to take the Chiefs. Mahomes, they're having a down year, but Mahomes is still awesome. The Chiefs are still the Chiefs.
Right. I think I'm going to take the Chiefs as well at home. I'm sorry, they're away, but I still think the Chiefs are going to win. They're going to get a low rebound here against even a good defensive
If not,
line.
they got big problems.
Yes, and then Ravens versus Chargers.
Got to take. Oh crap. I'll trust my Chargers. I've been loving the Chargers. I'm trusting them. This could come back to bite me.
Right. This is a big win for the Chargers on the road. In my book, I'm taking the Chargers as well. Herbert's going to ball
Potentially the third Lamar game we need.
Yeah. All right. Browns versus Cardinals.
I'm going to take the Browns. I'm going to be ballsy here.
Right,
I'm taking the Browns. I like what the Browns got going.
They're playing at home, but I'm going to take the Cardinals. They've been real hot. Well, the problem is that Chandler Jones will be Yes, Chandler Jones on the Cardinals. He's on the COVID list, so that might restrict the pass. But I'm going to take the Cardinals. Both Western teams out east, so I'm taking the wins. All right, Broncos versus Raiders.
We're going to take the Broncos. Going to catch them off guard because the Raiders are having coaching problems.
Broncos are home, so I'm going to take the Raiders. I'm going to see the Raiders. I think I'm going to see some resilience.
Okay.
All right, and Sunday night capped off my Steelers versus the Seahawks.
Seahawks, let them cook.
All right, guess what? Russell Wilson's out for 6 to 8 weeks, so I'm taking the Steelers. Baby.
I'm talking about. Right. They're going to let what's his face cook.
Oh, Geno Smith.
Yeah, Geno Smith cooking.
All right. Well, that's it for the big finish. Here's just an updated rankings. First week, Ryan and I both picked. Our first week we did it 2 weeks ago. Ryan and I both went 3-2. Now, obviously, we didn't have the same three people winning or that. Same thing last week. The games that we had switched were I had the Seahawks beating the Rams, and you had the Chiefs beating the Bills. So we were both 4-1. So we're tied. We're 7-3.
Oh my gosh, we must
be. So we'll see what happens next week. Thank you for listening to the Technical Difficulties episode. And we're back here recording on Monday night here, October 18th. Thank you for listening to The Big Finish and our two toss-ups on the pre-recorded.
That was the
past.
Ghost of Christmas Past, Quinn and Ryan. Before that, we were in the present. So this is quite the time travel episode.
And now I just want to say, fortune teller might tell you that Quinn might have went 5-1 that last week on the Big Finish.
Really?
And Ryan might have went 2-4.
I
don't know. We might have to predict that in the second half of the mega episode, but that's how it's gonna be. So, all right, real quick, first half shout out. Her first half shout out.
We're going to thank you, Xander Bogaerts, because he's very underrated, and I talk about him all the time, how underrated he is, and I really just want to give him a big shout out. I'm not going to go full on special section Xander Bogaerts, but I would
Why don't you do that? Why don't you put that as an age of the World Series? That should be your special section.
Yeah, if they make the World Series, he's the special section, because I do love me, Xander Bogaerts. I think he's a very underrated player. I mean, his OBP this year was 370.
That's very good.
I love looking. I always prefer OBP over
batting average. I agree always. because that includes obviously walks.
I love a good old fashioned OPS, an OPS plus. Yes. His OPS plus is 127, so he's widely above average.
Amen.
He was an all-star, and I mean, he's good player. I mean, only 113 strikeouts, which is pretty solid when you think about that. I mean, not crazy great numbers for strikeouts, but also not super high either. He gets on base, 370. I mean, you want to be in the 400 above his elite on base. Good player.
Well, my shout out, non-sports wise, and it's happening tonight. I was planning this for last week to get you prepared. But tonight is the premiere of season 13 for Hoarders on A&E.
Oh, boy.
Tune into that. I mean, Hoarders has been on a roller coaster ride. It has been... they started out 6 seasons straight on A&E. They cut it. Not cut. That's not the word I'm looking for. Canceled them. And then had a 2-year hiatus. Lifetime picked them up. And then they came back to A&E immediately for season 8. After that, season 7, they were on Lifetime.
Goodness.
So they're back here. Looking forward to Hoarders to see that is. Always makes you feel like you need to clean your room after that. I mean, that's how it is. So, all right. Thank you for listening to the first half of the mega episode. See you on the flip side. This is Quinn Maspeko speaking for the Big Salad Podcast, a Ryan Klinger production. Please note that portions of this podcast were edited before the final cut was produced, and this episode was recorded on October 18th. The sections of Toss Up and Happy Time are copied from the ESPN show Pardon the Interruption, and there was no intention to infringe on copyrights of these segments and their related music. Stay tuned for our next podcast next Monday, actually, after the flip side here on the Sword of Swords Podcast YouTube channel.
I'm back, baby! I'm back! What's a mango?
And we're back here on the flip side of our bridge of Seinfeld.
Yes, the mega episode. The mega episode.
So, to begin, we're gonna bounce around and talk about Urban Meyer across the pond. See how the MLB CS, the championship series, are going. Play a new game, which we'll explain in a little bit.
Yep.
And as obviously have some happy time. But to begin, the first headline this past weekend, the Baltimore Ravens dismantled the LA Chargers.
Yes, they did. They did. My guy Herbert.
Baltimore. And the Cardinals destroyed the Browns in Cleveland. So, Ryan, were you more impressed with the Baltimore Ravens this week or the Arizona Cardinals?
Honestly, Quinn, I said it, and I have to stick to my word. I said if Lamar is another game that makes him look like a Super Bowl winning quarterback, I have to officially say that I have to retract my statement about him not being a Super Bowl, like a quarterback that can win you a Super Bowl, and he did it. Third game of the year, that he looked like a Super Bowl winning quarterback. He looked like that against the Raiders. He looked like that against the Colts, Chiefs, and now Chargers. I mean, he had 167 yards passing, but he had 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, which when you look at the numbers like that, only a 68 passer rating, You're like, well, those numbers don't pop off the page. What are you talking about, Ryan? But he crushed them. Like, they won, what was it,
34-6.
34-6. A lot of that goes down to his defense, and the running backs are playing well, too.
The chances also taken by the Chargers going on fourth down and deep in their own territory helps you out when you get the ball on the Chargers.
You got Le'Veon Bell getting a touchdown. Like, it wasn't like Lamar was having a crazy game like he did, of course, against Colts, 442 yards and 140 passer rating. That was... more than double the passer rating of the game before. 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. That was the crazy game. 86% completion.
Right.
That was the crazy game. Chiefs, for perspective, was 239 with a 78.8 passer rating. It's only 10 more than the Chargers game. So you're probably like, well, that's the weakest one. Why are you so impressed? I'm like, well, because he had a weak game, and the Ravens still dominated. Right. So the team is not, it's not just Lamar carrying anymore.
No.
It's the whole team's there. It's the Chiefs and Ravens have flipped roles.
Somewhat.
Mahomes isn't. Mahomes is kind of carrying.
I know, but there hasn't been any dramatic or sustainability in playoff wins.
That's true. That's very true. We still have Lamar only has one playoff win to his name. Exactly. But I'm saying when it comes playoff time, if the Ravens win the AFC North, they might be a potential favorite for a Super Bowl for me. I love what they're doing over there.
But
they got it going on.
Also, we're only a third way in the season. A lot can change.
And the Cardinals, I think, are really good.
Stands for not for long.
That's
not
true.
Just in players.
That's true.
Also in what happens
because it's such a short season. That, just the littlest thing can change it all.
That's right. Only a third.
And I think the Cardinals look really good too, but I'm not sure when it comes playoff time if they're going to be as good as a playoff Rams or a playoff Bucks. Mm-hmm. And I think that's how everybody feels, because everybody's like, man, the Cardinals are really good, but are they better than playoff Rams, playoff Bucks, or even possibly playoff Packers?
Or playoff Packers.
You know what I mean? Like, the NFC is full of guys who, we don't know that the Rams are going to step off in the playoffs, but they are being super hyped by us and everyone else. So
I don't know.
But I think, honestly, the Ravens are more impressive because I think the Ravens are officially a Super Bowl contender at this moment.
Well, I hate to disagree with you, but I think the Cardinals have been more impressive.
That's fine.
The reason I think it is because, especially this weekend, they had a tough game in Cleveland on the road.
Yep.
And your head coach is not there. He's tested positive with COVID. He's home.
Yeah.
So for Kyler Murray to come out, I know he's a third-year quarterback now. I'm sorry.
Yeah, third year.
Yeah, yes, I'm correct. I knew I was correct, and then I try to correct myself. But third-year quarterback.
I'm actually a pretty big Kyler Murray fan, so I knew.
Yeah, I know. And he was a perfect game manager.
Yep.
You thought the Browns might have some momentum at the end of that first half. Baker got that.
Holy crap! That pass.
Yeah, got to complete that.
Were you watching that live?
I was not watching it
live.
I was.
I screamed. I said, "That's going in!" And then it did. I was like, whoa. I was kind of joking.
If I wasn't at a meting, I would have been watching it live.
Yeah.
But I was at a meeting.
I was joking. I didn't think it'd actually go through, and then it did.
Anywho, so I thought it was more impressive to see Kyler Murray out there, no head coach, being able to get into the game and win by 23. The Browns did not score, and the defense obviously stepped up. The Browns did not score in the second half on the Cardinals.
Yeah.
So that just made it even more impressive for me with no Kingsbury.
Yeah.
But anyway, across the pond, it took Urban Meyer, Trevor Lawrence, and the Jacksonville Jaguars going across the pond to get their first win in bloody old England. And are the Jaguars on the up and up after beating the Dolphins?
MVP of that team's James Robinson. You didn't even say his name.
Well, because
he's great.
He's never headlined. I think that might be the issue.
He's the star of that team. Trevor's second to him. I think the Jaguars got a lot of money to spend, and I'm not 100%. I'm not really in on Urban, as we've talked before. I think they should get a new head coach this offseason. I don't think you're going to be winning any Super Bowls with Urban. I would love Bieniemy. I think he would completely unlock Trevor Lawrence.
Okay.
And he'd use James Robinson a lot as a receiving back, kind of how the Chargers are using Eckler. And I think that would really benefit Robinson because I think he can do that too.
Yes,
I think he's definitely three-dimensional that way.
Yeah, with Minshew.
So I'm saying, yeah, he was doing it with Minshew, and so I'm saying I think that team would potentially win the AFC South in the right. Really, your only competition down there looking like the Titans, and the Titans are playing the Bills right now and probably losing. So, the Titans haven't been blowing you out of the water. I think next year we could see the Jaguars. They have a lot of money to spend this offseason. They could go out, get some good receivers potentially for Lawrence to throw to. Bada bing, bada boom.
Right.
You just need to unlock Lawrence. I don't think Urban's going to unlock Lawrence.
nobody sees, but also this might affect your prediction at the halftime. It'll be right now it's 17-13.
Okay.
Titans.
Okay.
When right now in Monday Night Football. But anywho, the Jaguars have a very favorable schedule to actually probably string together 6 or 7 wins this season.
Dang it, because then they might keep Urban. I don't think he's the answer.
So I mean, next week, they're playing the Colts next week, which is a very good chance to win. Then they have a very tough game. I do not know who they have to play the Rams at some point. They got to play. I mean, they have a lot of tougher games still, but they still have a lot of easy games. They have people with the same records. So I would say, are the Jaguars up and up? Not till I see them string together a couple of wins.
Yeah, I guess I didn't really answer the question. The answer is no.
We'll see We'll see in a couple of weeks if that can happen, if they can string together a couple of wins. But it took them all the way to England. They had to go over all there to foggy old London just to finally be bloody brilliant on that football field in Tottenham. Not even in Wembley. They were in Tottenham.
Yeah.
And you know that the Jaguars have played the most in bloody old England.
I think they were going to move them.
They played there 8.
I think they were going to move them there if it wasn't for Lawrence going down there. Well,
they
changed team names. They changed team names.
What? The London Biscuits, the London Fish and Chips,
the London
Bellhoppers, the London Bell Towers.
Something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Something like that. But I'm saying I think they were going to move them, but then Lawrence went there, and that kind of got some. I think they've probably been selling.
They could always add one there.
You
got to think about this. How does the bodily effect of jet lag go onto those players if they're coming all the way across the pond to play games?
You're almost better off to start a mini 8-team league out there. That's Great Britain owned. I mean, European teams.
Have you seen that the NFL has started a program to get more international players to come and play in the NFL?
That's a good idea. I mean,
like it.
You're almost better off to have what they like NFL Europe, which is 8 teams in Europe that all play each other, that function as almost like a minor leagues.
True.
That's actually not a bad idea. Because instead of doing minor league football, you're just doing regular football, except it's in Europe, so you're expanding your base.
Right.
And maybe you do this, and if that's successful, do NFL Mexico, put a couple teams in Mexico.
Possible. Chihuahua.
Yeah. I mean, obviously Mexico City. Yeah, exactly.
Tijuana.
Exactly.
Ciudad Juarez.
I'm impressed you know all these.
Because they're border towns. San Diego and Tijuana, El Paso and Ciudad Juarez.
You love your geography.
I took 5 classes.
So I honestly, that was completely off dome. I didn't even I just thought of that. I'm actually kind of impressed at that. The NFL Europe idea.
My geography or your NFL Europe?
Both. I'm a little more impressed myself, which is slightly conceited. But NFL Europe, I should probably call Roger.
You better call Roger. I mean, you call everybody, so you better give him a call after
I should call Roger and be like, hey, I got a good idea, because
that
you could put that on American televisions. If you do it in the spring, put it on American televisions, then you're competing with, like the XFL when they come back. You know what I mean? In the leagues that are trying to do spring football.
True.
So then the people watch the minors. So
but then, what you could do, the problem is that you have Canadian football separate, but you could add in Canada.
You could. But I think CFL's already big enough they couldn't do it.
Right.
But I'm saying you put that on American televisions and you make it, that's honestly not a bad idea. Granted, they would have to be a lot of morning games because the time difference. But I mean, football fans it's
a 5-hour difference in England.
Yeah. So if you had a game at 7 o'clock, it's going to be here at 2.
Right.
But you had a game at 1 o'clock, you're going to have it at 9. Well, sorry, 2 o'clock would be 9.
8.
Yeah, 8. So what you should do is have games at 3, at probably 3 o'clock. I mean, what?
1 o'clock would be 6. Your night games would be too late. So I guess you would have to do, if you did 1 o'clock, it'd be 8 a.m. Nobody's getting up at 8 a.m.
No.
So, I mean, if you did an hour later, I think if you
But if it's an 8-team league.
If you did 2, 5.
If it's an 8-team league, you do 2 games at once, 1 night game, and then another night game another night.
Well, you could do 2. No. What if you do 2 night? What if you just do it all on Sunday and just do 2 1 o'clock? I mean, 2 o'clock their time, 1 5:30, and then 1 9.
That's not a bad idea.
Or 8:30.
Yeah. Oh, and if you what you could do if you really wanted to is don't broadcast one of the morning games and be like, yeah, you already know what it is, and make it a special broadcast where you get the Manning brothers maybe.
Oh yeah.
So then you sell it where it's like, well, you already know who's going to win, but we'll have the Manning brothers who called it live in the morning, and maybe it's like they're having morning coffee or something. It could be a bit. And then you show that at 8:30 American. I mean, it's spring football. So really, spring is your best option there because the NBA is winding down for playoffs, but it isn't in playoffs yet.
No.
And then MLB's just getting started.
I mean, but here's the thing, though.
March Madness.
March Madness. And both sexes going on. All right, tennis ramps up in the summer. I mean,
that's true.
In golf.
But I'm saying football fans will still watch football.
I understand.
And you and I would watch. You don't even act like you and I wouldn't watch NFL Europe and March Madness. We watch them both.
But my Sundays are usually taken up by PBA. So, I mean, that's the problem. Professional bowling.
See, I don't watch professional bowling.
Well, I mean, sometimes I got bored and I started watching professional bowling.
And now you can't stop.
No, I don't watch it anymore. But I used to when I was about in my early high school days, which were not that long ago.
That's sad that you watch professional bowling, Quinn. I'm kind of...
I love tennis. Tennis is great.
I like tennis.
I wish I'd learned how to play tennis.
Tennis is fun to watch.
When I was younger.
The thing is with tennis, they have to be good or else it's not any fun.
I mean, I'm a pro on Wii tennis. So if you want to
if
you ever want to play,
we should play sometime.
I will destroy you. So.
I'm actually kind of scared now. But I think that NFL Europe idea could work because, the USFL is returning this year to do their own thing, and then that'll probably fail. And the XFL was actually not too bad. I was a big believer in the 2020 XFL. I liked what they had going on. And their TV numbers are very good. There's definitely a real market for spring football. It's just a matter of positioning. You have to get in that position.
And marketing.
And marketing, yeah. And the NFL is all three of those.
That's exactly
And it works as a minor league because, you're like, hey, you didn't make the NFL, or you're the third string quarterback on the Bills. I mean, Jake Trubisky. Or whichever one is the real third back. Whoever... Maybe it's probably Fromm, sadly.
It is Fromm.
So it's like Fromm, you go over there, you can be one of the poster boys because people know you're from Georgia. We'll put you on the posters, dude.
That's right.
I mean, XFL quarterbacks are actually doing decently in the NFL. Taylor Heineke started for the Washington football team. PJ Walker was a good backup for the Panthers last year. He was looking like XFL MVP for the Houston Roughnecks.
Right.
For people that didn't watch XFL, this all sounds like gibberish.
It does. But
I like the NFL Europe. That's actually not a bad idea.
Nope.
Maybe they'll do it.
You got to patent it right now. All right, last headline for this half of the episode. Over the weekend, there was a deal struck between LSU and Coach O about him with a settlement on pay for him to be released from his position as head coach of the football team at the end of this season. And this comes after a big win they had over Florida on Saturday. So, Ryan, what do you make of Coach O being released by LSU?
Well, I mean, I'll always have that 2019 year where they were the best team, I think, potentially ever in college football. It's obviously very hard to compare. We'll never really know, but I'm saying definitely one of the best college football teams ever. I mean, you look at the talent on that roster. You had Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Patrick Queen on the defensive end, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Joe Burrow. That team was crazy. He's turned LSU into I think LSU already was a power, a very powerful team. Then they slowed down for a little bit, and he's got them back to being prominent because of that huge year. Right. So he'll always have that big year, but I hope they get another good coach in there. Hopefully Joe Brady doesn't leave the Panthers to go head coach there.
Well,
he's going to leave eventually. It's just a matter of time.
First and foremost, go Tigers. And
yes.
Let's play. Can we get a soundbite of that in here?
Yep.
Okay. So Coach O, we're looking at his records by year. Okay. So when he took over LSU, he was 6-2 in 2016, and then he went 9-4 in 2017, 10-3 in 2018, undefeated 15-9 in 2019, 5-5 last year in the pandemic shortened season, and 4-3 currently this year. Not terrible, but I don't know if LSU really is deserving to be on top of the world in football. But I guess what I'm saying is that 49-17 overall. I mean, how are you firing somebody at 49-17? Anybody else would love that. So I understand it might not be at the highest standard for LSU, but I wouldn't. I think it's an overreaction by the athletic department. You don't even know what's going to happen the rest of the year. I mean, LSU obviously still has tough games to play. They're at Ole Miss this weekend. They're back to back at Ole Miss and then Alabama, and then they actually have 3 hard back to back games at Ole Miss, at Alabama, and Arkansas at home, and then they play Louisiana Monroe, and then Texas A&M to close out the season. So I guess I would not just put the cart before the horse and just calm down. And he might get a couple wins. And he probably could still make.
And he was a very beloved coach. I mean, the Go Tigers thing is his big thing, and there's only shirts that say Go Tiger.
That's right. And
he's a beloved. He's a beloved man. Yeah.
GEAUX.
Like Joe Burrow.
Yes, exactly.
I love that whole thing. That was so cool when he came out on senior night with that.
Yes, that old French territory there. So
that's what they sell the jerseys as. I don't think they even sell normal Burrow jerseys. If you want to buy one, no, not anymore though.
I mean,
at the time,
if they're LSU.
If they're LSU, you have to buy the Burrow like that. Now that's the way they sell them now.
I think that needs to be researched. I'm not researching it now.
I'll check it right now.
You check.
You go on to the next segment. I could definitely be wrong.
Well, it's time for What's the Word, so you better have your words ready.
I do have my words ready.
All right. First, What's the Word? With the first ever back-to-back innings with grand slams in the MLB playoffs, the Boston Red Sox offense has been blank this series.
I was wrong. They sell them both. It's just better selling. Sorry about that. Mm-hmm. Sorry about that. The Boston Red Sox has been incredible. I mean, incredible, like historically incredible. Back-to-back, grand slams, and you know what I mean? Games with grand slams, right? Didn't they do back-to-back grand slam games?
That's what I just wrote on this question. How about you not back-to-back grand slam games, back-to-back grand slams in the same game.
I'm sorry, I was
not back-to-back immediately, but back-to-back in innings.
I was confusing it with the Braves back-to-back walk-offs.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
No, you're fine.
I was also researching the Joe Burrow thing, which I was wrong about. I'm sorry about that too. They've been. That's 2 grand slams back-to-back in the playoffs. I mean, the Red Sox have been the hottest team in baseball since the month of October started,
right.
And they might be in the World Series. I predicted the Astros Dodgers and went with the most sad pick of all. But I would love for it to be the Red Sox.
Well, right now, I hate to break it to you because we have no predictions tonight, but the Red Sox are right now up 9-3
I'm fine
on
with
the
that.
Astros.
I would love to be wrong about this Astros series.
What I'm going to say is, my word is, well, it's a hyphenated word. It's going to be better than... Well, I don't know how to phrase it this way. I guess I should have probably thought about this a little earlier when I was creating this question. But it has been worthy of not losing this series. Because in the first game, the Red Sox, I believe, were up 3-0 or 4-0 over the Astros. I'm sorry. They were up 3-1 on the Astros, and they blew that to lose that game there at the beginning of the series. And then in the last one, obviously they scored all 9 runs early, and they were able to hold the Astros down to 5. Martinez, J.D. Martinez, hit the first grand slam, and then Rafael Devers, hit the second one. So...
my guy, Rafael Devers.
That's right. So then now the Red Sox right now, I think they must be up to bat right now, J.D. Martinez is. But if you look at the...
you could crank one.
Let's think about the play-by-play. It is... they were up 9-0 until there was a home run for the Astros last inning. But they had home run by Arroyo, 2-run homer there. Renfroe scored.
I guess my only concern would be the pitching with the Red Sox.
They hit another wherever you are. They hit another grand slam tonight. Schwarber hit one with Renfroe Vasquez and Arroyo on base. So it's just they shouldn't have lost. It was not worthy of them losing that first game against the Astros. They should be up. Hopefully tonight they really should be up 3-0 if they continue to win. If they continue on this pace.
Yes. I'm just a little concerned about the pitching. They have been giving up a good amount of runs.
Pitching is awful. Yes.
This has just been an offensive series.
Evaldi, Sale's still coming back. He's been iffy. So
they got to get that cleaned up for the World Series.
They
if
do.
They make it.
I know. If they make it. Next, the Atlanta Braves 2-0 lead over the Los Angeles Dodgers is blank.
Doomed. I honestly think the Dodgers are probably going to beat them. I feel like the Dodgers are going to come back from this. I mean, the Giants-Dodgers series, we thought the Giants had the big lead. That Game 6 felt like the Giants had it in hand, and then Mookie Betts stepped up, and boom, they were in the pennant. Granted, they had another game, but that last game just felt like, crap. We came so close. And so, if the Dodgers were going to lose, it was going to be in a non-Game 7 series, you know what I mean? I thought, the Dodgers, you had to get them eliminated early if they weren't going to make it the World Series. I don't think the Braves could beat them 4 games.
Well, My word is going to be unexpected.
Okay, that's true too.
Capitalize on your point there. And my game plan right here for the Braves is you're going to Los Angeles. I mean, what's the setting here? Is the setting 2-2-1-1-1? Or is it 2-3-2? I'm pretty sure it's 2-3-2.
I think it's 2-3-2.
Okay? You have to steal one game in LA. That's all you have to do.
Yeah.
Because you can come back home, you can win there. So that's what you got. You got 2 chances to win at home.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's easier to obviously come back from down a 2-0 lead in a series of 7 than it is a series of 5 because you have more opportunities. When you're in a series of 5, your backs are against the wall. So, I'll be interested to see how the Braves do. Freddie Freeman, I believe they play tomorrow night in LA. I'm gonna double check that real quick. I have been tuning into TBS. They do play tomorrow night. It's obviously the first. The Dodgers, they play. Dodgers Braves play at 8 after 5, and then 8 after 8. The Astros Red Sox play, which makes no sense because they're out west for the Dodgers, so it's an afternoon game there.
I don't know.
But anyway, so last one here, and what's the word? The Iowa Hawkeyes lost to the Purdue Boilermakers this Saturday, made them feel blank.
Sad, very sad. My Iowa Hawkeyes might not win the Big Ten. Maybe not. It might be Michigan State. It might be Ohio State.
Okay,
and the most disappointing finish of all.
But they're on the West, Iowa is.
Well, they'll be in the Big Ten championship, I think.
Okay.
It's just a matter of winning it and getting to that playoff.
Right.
If they win it, they'll probably make the playoff, barring something very unforeseen.
Possible.
But they have to win that playoff game. They have to win the Big Ten game.
Right.
So, and it's probably Michigan State or Ohio State, maybe Penn State, but probably Ohio State or Michigan State right now.
Well,
whoever wins that Michigan State-Ohio State game is probably winning the East.
Well, you got to think Michigan plays next week. So.
Oh, I forgot Michigan's actually, good.
Yes. So, I think Iowa's obviously going to be beneficiary if they win out the rest of their games, that they're going to be a beneficiary of the infighting between the 4 top Big Ten East teams, because obviously somebody has to lose those games.
Yeah.
And they all have to play each other.
What I think, though, that really cost Iowa is, like you and I talked, it's quarterback. It's the week's.
Yes, Petrus is awful.
Yeah, he's not good. But the thing is, their defense is so good, it keeps them in games.
It does, but Petrus has got to be better.
Yeah, he does. If they're going to be a playoff team, he has to step up.
Yep, I agree.
He's the key. Their tight ends are good.
Right.
It's the matter of getting the ball to them.
Well, yeah, that's the
and
problem.
not checking it down all the time.
Right, that's the problem.
Or throwing interceptions.
Right.
Come on.
Multiple of those.
Come on.
Yep. My word is another high-fan word, and it is bottom of the barrel, because Iowa's now dropped out of the top 10. They're only 11th, though. But they are completely out of the college football playoff race at the moment. Now, obviously, like I said, there's going to be some reshuffling in between, some infighting in the Big Ten East. And there could be, obviously, unexpected losses from other people that are ahead of them. So, I am just saying that Iowa is out of the race for now. Let's come back in a month, and let's see when we have the last 2 weeks of the season if they're back in it. All right, we're going to play a new game here tonight in the second half. And Ryan came up with this one, and it is called Contender or Pretender. And this is in honor of Chrissy Hine and the Pretenders, a band from the 1980s. And obviously, Contenders will use their song as I'll Stand By You, because they're contenders. Obviously, you're standing by them. If they're pretenders, their song Back on the Chain Gang obviously is true, because they're not they're pretending, they're not out there. So
we're doing NFL? Is that what we're doing?
We're going to start with the NFL, and going to say and give a reason why, if this team is a contender or a pretender. Basically like a toss-up, except we're tossing up the answer. Except we're tossing up the category and not the answer this time.
Yes.
The answer is the team. So, first to start off, we have 5 in the NFL, the Arizona Cardinals.
Definitely a contender. I do think there's a bit of questions there because the Rams do exist and the Bucks, which I think both those teams will step up in the playoffs, and potentially the Packers, like we talked about. Was that the last episode of the mega episode? No, it was the beginning of this episode. Mm-hmm. So it was the beginning of the second half of the mega episode. But they're a contender, definitely.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to go with their contender as well. The defense has been strong. They shut down the Rams. They shut down the Browns. And the offense has been consistently there, too, as long as Kyler Murray does not turn the ball over excessively. I think the Cardinals are definitely a contender. What about the Los Angeles Chargers?
Now, this one is a lot tougher for me. I'm going to tentatively go with contender because I do believe they're the best team in their division. But it's just like when I'm looking at other teams, I think the Ravens right now look better. I think the Bills look better. Mm-hmm. I think the Browns look on their level. And I think the Bengals look on their level. Okay. So if I'm putting the Chargers as a contender, I know what's coming up next, which is the Cincinnati Bengals. They got to be a contender too, because I think they're pretty much on the same level at the moment.
Well, I'm going to say right now, I'm going to go with a skeptical contender.
That's what I'm saying, tentative.
Here's the problem. I think they can be contender to get in the playoffs, but they're a pretender when they get in the playoffs. That's the thing. So if we're asking right now if they're a contender to get in the playoffs, I agree with you.
Well, I'm saying Super Bowl contender. Contender, pretender.
Okay, well then I'm saying they're a pretender then because they're not going to make it to the Super Bowl. The Chargers are a pretender then. They'll make it to the playoffs, but they're not going to make it too far.
I think they have Super Bowl potential behind Herbert and Eckler.
No, not
that
this year.
That offense is very
Not
big.
this year. The defense is too scathed. Next year, possibly, if they go out and spend some more on the defense.
That's fine.
What about the Cincinnati Bengals?
I already said I honestly believe they're on the level of the Chargers, and
you think they're a contender for the Super Bowl?
It's called contender or pretender. I mean, it's contending for the championship, right?
Okay. Well, yeah.
I can realistically see the Bengals.
I guess it's your game, so whatever you say. What are the rules?
Saying, it's like I feel like contender or pretender means right now at this moment. I said, are they going to be in the Super Bowl or not? You can only make one answer.
Right.
It's yes or no. And I'm saying, can you realistically believe them in the Super Bowl? Bengals, they're on the same level of the Chargers as me. Right now, they've been playing really well. Zach Taylor seems to have the team in order. You're making a huge face. I mean, they've been playing really well. I have to say contender.
It's okay. That's your answer.
I mean, that could change. That could change. But right now, they look good.
Well,
Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow is as good as advertised.
Okay. They're a pretender to me. They have a chance to get a playoff spot, but they're not going to be in the Super Bowl this year. The defense has stepped it up. They spent more money on the defense.
Yep.
I agree that the offense has been clicking. There's more run balance with
having
a true number one receiver with Jamar Chase and having Joe Mixon in the backfield. But I just don't see the Bengals in the Super Bowl. I mean, he's not Ken Anderson.
It's true.
So,
Tyler Boyd's good too. Tyler Boyd's good too.
Yes, I agree. What about the Dallas Cowboys? How about them Cowboys, Stephen A. Smith?
They might win the NFC East, but they're a pretender because they're not as good as the Cardinals. And the Cardinals are like, they're going to have to play the Cardinals, Bucks, or Rams. They're not better than any of those teams. So, pretenders. Also, Diggs is really good at catching interceptions, but he's ought to stop giving up 75-yard touchdowns. They almost lost to the Patriots the other day.
I saw that last night.
And that's on him. And he said that's on me. So I know everybody wants to put him as DPOI, but he's catching interceptions, but because the way he's playing up is that he's costing them touchdowns too. So I think it's a really hard case for Defensive Player of the Year because it's
gambling. He's gambling.
He's gambling a bit much, and that can cost him down the line. And that's why I think they're pretenders.
Right. I agree, they're pretenders as well. The Cowboys, they're never as good as they're advertising. When they get to the playoffs, they don't win. They haven't won a playoff game since 1995. And I don't see Troy Aikman getting out of the booth anytime soon. So, or Deion
Probably
Sanders.
good for his health. I mean, he looks like he's taking a lot of hits to the head.
So, anyway, but no, the Cowboys are not there. They are much improved with Dak being in that quarterback position compared to the Red Rider, whatever nickname you want to give him.
Red Rocket.
So, yes, the Red Rifles, Red Rocket, or whatever it was, or something like that. The Red Rocket's Red Rifle, or something. I don't know. There was a toy about it. But no, they are pretenders there in Dallas. I just don't see them coming out to win a Super Bowl. And finally, the Carolina Panthers.
My Carolina Panthers will be maybe a wild card team. I'd love for it, but we're a pretender. We're not winning the Super Bowl this year. Maybe next year. I definitely think we're in the mix by 2023, 2024. But for the time being, definitely a pretender.
Yep. Definitely a pretender. They started out undefeated, and now they dropped 3 straight. Unless they're going to get back on a hot streak, which they have a chance because they have some lesser competition to play, except for the Saints and the Bucks, that they might be able to stick it together or at least get into the playoffs. But I agree with Brian, just not in the Super Bowl. Not Super Bowl caliber yet. Maybe it's a 5-year plan. It's like the Soviet Union or pre-World War II Germany. It's a 5-year plan. 5-year plan.
The AFC, I love Matt Rule, though. I think he's a very good coach.
Well,
so the AFC to me is so much more fun. It's like the old West. You got a bunch of gunslingers out there trying to see who can come out on top. The NFC is like the old guard. There's like Brady, and then there's like Sean McVay with his Rams team, and then there's the new young Cardinals. And it's like no one else is really on their level, and everybody knows it.
Yeah.
So everybody's just like, all right. Whereas the AFC, it's like, maybe the Chargers, maybe the Browns.
You're going to leave out the Packers on the NFC?
Oh, forgot about them, too. It's like the old guard, where it's like Stafford's finally proving he's one of the big boys. Rodgers and Brady's like, we've been doing this for years. And then Kyler Murray's like, hey, guys.
That's right.
Guys.
It's like the Heisman house.
Yeah, it is like the Heisman house.
Heisman Trophy house, yes.
Can the Eagles eventually be in the old guard? Probably not. But maybe eventually. I like Hurts. I like Hurts and Smith. I think it's a good connection.
Hey, they took it. They took them to the limit. They took the Bucs to the limit.
They beat the Panthers, so maybe I just keep my mouth shut.
Yeah.
But the AFC to me, it's like maybe the Chargers, maybe the Browns, maybe the Ravens, maybe even the Bengals. Like, I feel like things are getting wild out there. Bills, probably the favorite. Chiefs are slowing down. Like, it's just wild out there. It's like every week there's something big happening in the AFC and the NFC.
I agree.
The NFC is just like what you expect.
That's right.
I mean, the Cardinals are a surprise, but it's not like It's not surprises and Chiefs having a record like 3-3, right?
Yeah, Chiefs are 3-3.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like,
They got tough games still. So, all right, 2 more on the Contender Pretender, but we're changing to college football, and first with Oklahoma.
I don't like what they have going on. I don't think Rattler's as good as we all thought. Pretender.
I think they're a contender now because they sacked Rattler and they put in Caleb Williams this past
Did you read about that, though? Did you read about that thing? That's very interesting. So,
inform me.
A kid, like a college student for the Oklahoma, student body newspaper, for their student newspaper.
University newspaper,
was doing an article about the football team and saw Williams working out and wrote in his article. And Rattler read it. Yeah, and so Riley threw a fit and was like, no media at all. And all the ESPN guys were like, what? I work, or like the Athletic beat guy was like, I work for the Athletic. He's like, I don't care. An 18-year-old got information he couldn't have. He shouldn't have had. And I'm like, that's weird. Like, it's just weird to think about. Like, it's just some random kid just trying to write his article for the Oklahoma's,
Sooner or whatever. It might just be
the Sooner report or whatever. I mean, so, I did think Williams looked good. So.
He did. I think he injected a lot of energy into that offense.
I guess you're right. I didn't think about the Williams thing, but I don't really like what they have going on this year. And I'm a big Oklahoma Lincoln Riley backer. I think he's a very good coach. Busts out some really good quarterbacks, but I don't know. I don't think they're better in Cincinnati. I don't think they're better in Georgia.
By the way, it's called the Oklahoma Daily, OU Daily.
There it is.
That's what it is. But.
So I don't think they're on the level of Cincinnati and Georgia. So I'm taking them Pretender.
Yeah. So. I gave my reason for contenders. That's good enough to go to Michigan now.
I'd also put them as a pretender because I don't think they're better than Michigan State or Ohio State. And I don't think they're better. They might be on the level of Iowa depending on how Iowa plays these next couple weeks. But I'm saying it doesn't matter because if they lose to Michigan State and or Ohio State, they're probably not going to be in the playoff.
Right.
So they have to win the Big Ten championship to be in the playoff.
Right. I think
so. That's what it comes down to. And I think Michigan State's a better team, Quinn. I'm going to give you credit.
Well, thank you. I agree that Michigan's a pretender. The only reason I say right now is because they haven't played anybody yet.
That's very true.
I mean, they're 3 toughest.
It's kind of good that they're ranked. They're overly ranked for high for no reason.
I mean,
because it's going to make Ohio State and Michigan State look better when they win.
Can we agree that I don't know? I can't remember who Penn State played in their non-conference. The Michigan's toughest game in the non-conference is Washington.
Yes.
And Michigan. Their hardest non-conference game has been Washington. But Washington's not even that good of a team. I mean,
they're not even ranked, are they?
They're not ranked, and Washington's record is, I'm going to tell you, they are 2-4, so they're awful.
And they're Pac-12.
Yes.
The weakest out of the Power 5.
So, Michigan State has at least they played Miami, Florida, and Miami. Ohio State played Oregon and lost there. Excuse me. Penn State,
beat Wisconsin.
Well,
right?
They had to play Wisconsin, which is a tough crossover. Nobody else is playing that tough of a crossover in Big Ten East. Excuse me. And then they beat Auburn, so that would be a tough game too. So I'm going to say, Michigan hasn't played anybody. That's why they're a pretender. Now, if they play somebody and they win, they can beat.
What about Michigan State? Is Michigan State a contender?
I am not answering that right now. So,
all right. After the Ohio State game, I'm requesting we do contender or pretender on Michigan State.
Okay, I thought maybe after the Michigan State game next Saturday, but that's okay.
I feel like we got to wait for the OS.
Okay,
actually, no. Let's do it going into OSU. Let's do it going into OSU.
Going into OSU? All right.
Because that'll be big.
It's middle of It's the middle of November. I'm sorry, no, it's November 20th. It's the day of the bazaar.
The bazaar, of course.
So hopefully it's not noon game, because if not, I can't. Well, I guess I'll just hang out in the bazaar in the morning. But that's how it'll go. That's how it'll be. All right. On to Ryan's second half special section. Ryan.
So this one was the non-sports focused one, so I thought we'd have a little bit of fun. Quinn and I are both big Batman fans. We're very excited for the new Robert Pattinson movie. I think we're definitely going to do a review on the show.
I'm Robert Pattinson.
Because it's coming out March 6th. 6th? That was pretty good. March 6th?
Pattinson?
Yeah, March 6th.
I'm Robert Pattinson.
March 6th, right? The new Batman movie.
I'm Batman.
Now, I will say it was hard.
That's more Robert Pattinson. But it's more of, if I want to be Keaton, it's I'm Batman.
Yeah. Can you do Christian Bale?
His is a little higher.
His is tough.
It's like, I'm Batman. It's a little high. I just can't get it. You can't get, it's hard. It's hard.
I feel like they're going to they all tear up their throats for no reason. Like, it's like, Batman, you can do just like a voice changer thing, dude. You don't have to.
What is this, Scream?
I guess that's true. I guess that's
ridiculous.
True. They could do it in post, though. I mean, they don't have to tear up their throats. All right, if you want to tear up, let them tear up their throats.
Tear them up. Tear them up, baby.
So when does it release?
It releases on March 4th.
I said the 6th. I was 2 days off. Well, yeah, so we'll be doing podcasts then.
Are we going?
Yeah, we'll go. Let's set it up.
We're planning it. We're putting it.
I'll probably go see it 2 or 3 times in theaters anyway.
Okay, well, that's fine. We'll go for the premiere.
We are going to rank all the Batmans up to this point.
Okay.
And if we want to, we can throw Pattinson in there, but I feel like we can't really grade him yet, even though his movie does look awesome. So this isn't the movie ranking. This is the actors.
Hold on.
So whoever.
Hold on. We're going to cut out the 1940s version, but I'm going to write the list down just because.
Lewis Wilson?
We're cutting out Lewis Wilson and Robert Lowry.
Yeah, that works for me. So we're doing Adam West.
Yes.
Michael Keaton.
Okay.
Val Kilmer. George Clooney.
Okay, you keep going.
And we're not doing Kevin Conroy, even though he's actually the best, right? The voice actor. He's great. No, I'm serious. He's great. And Christian Bale. So all the movie ones that were not animated.
What about Will Arnett in the Lego?
Do we want to put him in?
No.
I love the Lego Batman movie.
I know, but Will Arnett was way better in 30 Rock or whatever he was in.
Was he in 30 Rock? What was he in?
Let me go real quick. It's going.
Yeah, 30 Rock. He was in 30 Rock.
Yeah, that's right. See, I know my things on NBC. It's my favorite.
It was Arrested Development, too.
So, all right. So we got Adam West, Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, George Clooney, Christian Bale, Ben Affleck. You want to go ahead?
Okay. So pause me when you disagree. I think the worst one is George Clooney.
Agreed.
Thank you. Okay. Because, I mean, Batman and Robin's bad movie. He doesn't even do any good performance. He doesn't fit Bruce Wayne. He's too comedic. He's too comedic. And I've never been a big Clooney guy in general. I mean, right. I think he's fine in Ocean's 11, but he's not like the most interesting character.
Ocean's 11.
Well, he's not the most interesting character even in that movie, and he's the lead.
Oh, I know.
He's not. I don't think he's an incredibly interesting actor. I don't even think he's incredibly funny. I'm not a big Clooney guy in general, and I don't think he really brought.
Right.
He didn't really have any depth to him. He's just kind of there, and he doesn't really fit Bruce Wayne because you don't like him at all.
He doesn't. I mean, Schwarzenegger was not very good as Mr. Freeze either.
Yeah,
so too Terminator-ish.
No,
but
I think Uma Thurman's a fine Poison Ivy.
So, Uma. Kramer was into Uma.
Yeah, he was.
All right. Anyway.
So second, I'm gonna go.
Second worst.
Second worst. I think I'm gonna go with Ben Affleck.
I agree with that.
Batfleck. I think he had potential if he would have put effort into. I mean, we know there's a lot of issues with Ben Affleck. And how he doesn't really want to be the character, you know what I mean, and all that stuff, where it kind of felt like he was being held at gunpoint to be in the movies and stuff. I don't know why. Like, he didn't want to be in it so bad. I mean,
he's supposed to produce it himself.
Yeah, and like, he was supposed to make his own, and it was supposed to be like this very fantastical Batman that was like super like...
Fantastical. Like that word.
Thank you. And it was like, and like it's like the opposite of the Pattinson ones, where it's like very grounded and realistic. It was going to be super fantasy based, and I think that was really interesting to see.
Yeah.
But then he didn't make it. There was obviously a lot of issues with him in his personal life.
Yep, with Jennifer Garner.
Yep. And rehab and a lot of stuff going on, and so
she's still doing Capital One.
She is. Maybe she's got the insurance, so like
she does.
She'll be all right.
What's in her wallet though?
Ben Affleck's
money.
Child, his child care payments.
Her own money.
His child care payments.
But anyway, go ahead.
But I don't think Argo made a ton of money. It won Best Picture though, didn't it? Yeah, it did. All right. Ben, he directed a movie, Argo.
I'm not talking about Affleck. I was talking about Garner. She's got her own money. Why does she need child support?
I guess doesn't he? Is he required to by the government? Isn't that how that works? Doesn't matter how much money he
within
makes.
each state. So there you go.
Oh, okay.
I'll call state California. Let me know.
Yeah, I have to call them.
Okay, you did the calling, so you.
Yeah, that's true. I'll call I'll call on your behalf.
Go on the rotary dial.
Yeah.
Get on the.
Get in Yellow Pages and just
landline.
call this state of California.
Amen.
Just the whole state. All right, so Ben Affleck, I think he would have had more if he put more effort into it and wanted to be the character. I think he could do it, but it felt like pretty much as soon as he was signed, they didn't really want to do it, and that's a lot of pressure to be Batman. He even said that. I mean, there's a lot of pressure on Pattinson, and I kind of feel bad for him, but I do think his movie's gonna be really good anyway. So I'm gonna say Affleck's second worst, just because I don't think he really wanted to do it, and I think that hurt him, and he didn't get to do much with the character because he only got 2 movies, and only one of them is actually his own movie, but even that one's a crossover with Superman. So he didn't have a lot of time to do much, and when he did do something, it wasn't that interesting. It kind of just felt like a less charming version of Iron Man. So
right. All right. Who is?
I've been right so far.
Who's 4th place?
Okay, so I've got Kilmer, Keaton, West. Correct? Oh, man. Okay, I have to go, I think, Kilmer. And
That's exactly what
I think I like Kilmer. I actually like... Oh, I have Bale, too. I actually like Kilmer's performance a lot. I think he does good stuff. I think he fits really Bruce Wayne. I just don't think he's a very good Batman. I think he's a good Bruce Wayne. He fits the look.
Okay.
And Val Kilmer's kind of a mysterious dude in general. That's why they just made a documentary about him.
Right.
And I think he kind of fits Bruce Wayne a lot, but I don't think he's the best Batman. When he's in the suit, I don't think it clicks as well.
Right.
He's a little goofy, and that's part of the reason Joel Schumacher wrote his movies. But, like, I actually enjoy Batman Forever. I think it's a fun, campy one. I think Batman and Robin is too bad to the point it's not fun, whereas Forever's fun. I like Forever. And so, even though they didn't really write Two-Face correctly, but, you know... I think Val Kilmer is actually pretty good. I think if he would have had, the right movies and more movies to work with, I think he would have been a good Batman. So I think he does a good job with what he's given. Mm-hmm. But he's a much better Bruce Wayne than he is Batman.
All right.
You've agreed with everything so far.
I've agreed with everything so far. 3rd place.
Well, eventually you have to rank Alfred's because that's where the real questions are.
No,
I love Alfred's.
That's easy.
The best one's the 1960s Alfred.
Oh, no.
See, I knew you'd get mad. He's the best one.
No, it's not. It's Michael Caine.
No, it's not.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. It's a lot tougher than you think. Dude,
right.
The old 60s
Go
Alfred's
ahead.
great.
We got to get rolling.
All right, sorry. So now it's Bale, Keaton, West, and I think all 3 of them do very good things for the character. And while Bale has the best movies, I'm putting him 3rd.
Ooh, I'll disagree.
Because I think he's a great Batman. I like his interpretation of Bruce Wayne, but his interpretation is very much where it's like Bruce Wayne is just a mask that Batman wears type, thing where it's like that's the way he took it, where it was every time he was Bruce Wayne, he was thinking about being Bat. You're shaking your head. So I think his movies are the best Batman movies, but I think his performance is a really great performance. But personally, out of what I want from my Batman, I think West and Keaton did it better.
Well, I'm going to say that Adam West is 3rd because even though he's the original and the best, not the best, but, I love the 1966 movie, and it's great. I mean, Lee Merriweather is in there as former Miss America. She is in as Catwoman.
Yes.
And and Cesar Romero is in there as Joker.
The guy who plays Riddler's great. I forget his name, but he's great. The Riddler's the best character in that show. He's awesome. Oh, and Mick from Rocky is
Frank Gorshin.
Burgess Meredith is the Penguin.
Yeah, he's the
Frank
Penguin.
Gorshin is the Riddler.
Yes. Well, what's sad is that you don't get to have Vincent Price's Egghead in here in the movie. He's in there in the TV series.
Yes.
But no, Adam West, I think, he's one of America's heroes on TV, but I don't think he deserves 2nd place.
I completely understand what you're doing. I think we're both gonna have Keaton 1. I just want to make sure. We'll talk about that in a minute.
I think you're very good at predicting.
So my second is West, and that's a lot because when I grew up, I watched a lot of Adam West Batman, so that kind of sticks with me. And I liked his really cheesy but fun take. I just think it's really enjoyable. Those shows are even fun to watch now, like when you're older, because they're just fun and entertaining. So I really like what he brought to it, and I think Bale's movies, like I said, are the best. I love the way I think Christian Bale, in my opinion, him and DiCaprio, are the 2 best actors in Hollywood. Period. But I don't want you to make fake. They're great, and like every movie they do.
Okay, over Michael B. Jordan. Over Chadwick Boseman.
I love those guys too, but I think like as far as like
sort of yes
deep
emotions. So
I think yes. I think
there
yes too.
go.
I think they're better. They're better. At the moment.
Amen.
Amen.
I mean,
DiCaprio's the best actor in Hollywood, and Bale's second. There it is.
He's not even from Hollywood. He's not even from America.
You know what I mean.
I know, but he's not from America.
Making movies, DiCaprio's the best. He's like the modern Marlon Brando.
Okay. That's a little...
What?
Okay. That's a little full of making Christian... I mean, no.
DiCaprio's great in like every movie. He's never missed.
He's no Marlon Brando.
How not? I mean, every movie that he's in, he's amazing. He has one bad movie, and it was in 2006, and it's the crappy rip-off Lord of the Flies movie.
That's the only bad movie by DiCaprio.
Yeah, let's go through.
Only one.
Every single movie he's in, he gives in a great performance.
One.
Let's go to DiCaprio performances.
I mean, obviously it was Lights Out in Titanic.
Yep.
Okay, how do you think he was in Critters 3? You think that was great?
Okay, that's a direct-to-video movie. Let's start. Let's start with what's
great.
He's very good in that.
Okay, there you go.
Basketball Diaries,
All right,
he's good.
Hold on, Romeo and Juliet. This 1990s version of Romeo and Juliet, awful.
He's fine in it. He's fine in it.
No, I think it's a bomb.
All right.
I mean, I disagree.
Man in the Iron Mask, he's good in that. Mm-hmm. He's good in Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah,
he's
Aviator.
Gangs in New York is not very good, but he's good in that.
The Aviator is fantastic.
Gangs in New York was a.
Yes, it's very good. It's a period drama.
It's not. I heard it wasn't the best.
I'm not saying it was the best. I'm just saying it was there.
It was a period drama.
Yes, it was. It's about
It's Scorsese. It's a Scorsese. It's one of Scorsese's weaker works, but he's
right.
Scorsese. Everything's good.
Okay.
I mean, Inception. He's so good in Inception.
I have not seen this J. Edgar movie, but I think it'd be interesting to watch.
About Hoover?
Yeah, let's look at the reception now. 43% not
No,
watching it.
no.
It's a bomb. All right.
He's good in Django. He's so good in that.
He's good in The Great Gatsby.
He's great in The Great
He's great in The
Gatsby.
Wolf of Wall Street.
He's great in The Revenant.
Okay, also really good in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And that's it. That's all he's been in for net. I mean, I wouldn't say he's everything. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's a one hit. It's a hit every time.
I think when it comes to actors overall, like best actors ever, he's in top 5 at least. I think he's up there with Brando.
Okay.
He's that good.
Okay.
And I think Bale's top 10.
You're thinking that high. Okay.
Bale's top 10.
I mean, you're missing out. What do you think? What's going to happen? You got Al Pacino. You got Humphrey Bogart. You got Vincent Price. You
De
got
Niro.
Boris Karloff. You got
De Niro.
Orson Welles.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of actors.
Desi Arnaz. Robert Reed. I mean,
there's a lot of actors. I agree.
Frank Cady. I mean, Jerry Mathers.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I'm kidding.
He's not in there.
I'm kidding. I'm obviously kidding.
There's a lot of.
No, I
Greg
agree.
Morris,
It's hard.
Clifton Davis. I mean,
you'd never be able to realistically get a list.
No, you couldn't.
But
Andy Griffith, Don Knotts, Tim Conway.
We're not putting Andy Griffith with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Okay, but he's great. I mean,
he's not with Leonardo. DiCaprio's one of the best to ever do it. And you know what movie he considered being in?
What?
It was him or Joaquin Phoenix for Joker. Fun fact.
Well, good thing it was Joaquin Phoenix because he was fantastic.
He was, but I'm saying Robert Pattinson.
Joaquin Phoenix.
If he's okay,
Joaquin Phoenix going to reprise the Joker in the new Batman trilogy.
This is the question. If he doesn't, what if they get DiCaprio to be Joker?
Hate it
for Pattinson.
You better get Phoenix in there.
I think they will. I think it's what they're going to do.
They will.
I think it's what they're doing.
And
I also think
ranking. We got to get back to the ranking.
I love Adam West's take. I think it's a fun take.
Did you wrap up your other previous point? Are you done with it?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're both going to agree Michael Keaton's the best.
Yes, we are.
He's the best.
I'm going to give my pitch.
He's a great Bruce Wayne, and he's a great Batman.
Can I give my pitch for Christian Bale? Okay, the reason I'm liking Christian Bale is second because the stories make the character better there. I mean,
that's true.
The first one, and I've only seen Batman Begins a couple times because they never played on TV. And I never saw it in theaters.
Yeah.
I was only 4, so I can't really say I'm going to recollect a Batman movie at 4.
Yeah.
But I did see The Dark Knight. That was one of my first movies I could really recollect in theaters. Fantastic. But I guess the real question is, here's the debate. We're going to leave Joaquin Phoenix out here. Who's better at Joker? Heath Ledger or Jack Nicholson? It's got to be Heath Ledger.
The best.
I mean, come on.
I think Heath Ledger's better. Is the best ever, period.
Why so serious?
I love the scene with the pencil. That's my favorite.
It
when
is.
he takes the pencil and he smashes the guy's head.
Yes. You know what's really good? When he dressed up as the nurse.
Yes.
Yes.
I always like about that scene when he does the thing with the button, is that the explosion's like legit. You know, you've heard about that. He improvised that.
Right.
And also the licking of the lips thing, it's really creepy.
I know, I love it.
That's also because his prosthetics didn't work properly.
I love it.
So he had to make him stick while licking them.
I love it.
A lot of it was done on accident.
I mean,
and it's great.
It was a great storyline between, they got rid of, I'm sorry, but no Naomi Watts, and as,
the girl.
oh my Lord.
His girlfriend.
Maggie Gyllenhaal played her. What's her name?
Yeah.
Rachel.
Rachel
Dawes.
Yeah, Rachel
Yes.
Dawes.
So then, I like that. Some reason, it's just a great story because they have that little tangling.
Well, you know why it's a great story?
Two-Face.
You know why it's a great story? You know why it's a great story? Because
Why?
my favorite director ever wrote it, Christopher
Nolan. I agree.
He doesn't miss either.
He's good. He's very good.
His Tenet's one of his weaker movies, and Tenet's great.
So, but anyway, Michael Keaton. Why is he your number one?
He fits everything you want in a Bruce Wayne. He's suave, he's charming, and he's funny, but he seems more comfortable when he's Batman, which is like part of the story. That's part of the mythos, is that he's more comfortable being Batman.
Right.
His Batman's serious, yet is also able to he's not like always like Ben Affleck serious, where it's like almost like cringe to a point, where it's like always super serious. I think he's right, and the Let's Get Nuts scene is like one of the funniest scenes I've ever seen in a movie, period, comedy or non-comedy.
Yeah.
And that was completely unintentional. I don't think he meant for that to happen.
Right.
He just overacted a bit. And I just love Michael Keaton in general. Every movie he's in, he kind of steals the show. He's great. Spider-Man Homecoming, I know you don't watch Spider-Man movies, but he is absolutely incredible in that role when he's the villain. Mm-hmm. And the best scene he has in the whole movie is when he's not even being the Vulture. He's just in a car talking to Peter Parker. And your brain starts to click that he's figuring out that Peter Parker's Spider-Man as Peter starts doing that. It's a very terrifying scene because you're like, oh crap, he's figuring this out. Mm-hmm. And, I think Keaton's just great in general. And I'm telling you, they should bring him back and have him do a Batman Beyond where he plays old Batman.
I hear you.
Bring him back.
Keaton's my number one because I really like the dark theme of those movies that Tim Burton wrote. And Michael Keaton fit that frame for the darkness of those two movies. Batman Returns. That's the thing. I hate to break it to everybody, but it's the second movies. That was supposed to be a trilogy. And then Keaton dropped out and Burton dropped out, obviously. That was a controversy there.
They were going to have Robin Williams as Riddler.
But
that was the plan.
Yeah, the middle movies of those trilogies, the supposed trilogies, Batman Returns and The Dark Knight are both phenomenal.
So they're the best. What you're saying is that
Roethlisberger and the Steelers are in The Dark Knight Rises.
What?
Yes, as the Gotham City football.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that.
It was all filmed in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. So what I was gonna say is, so that means Robert Pattinson's second movie is gonna be the best one.
Possible.
I'm telling you.
What is?
They've also rumored Willem Dafoe is also being talked about as being Joker.
Who the hell's that?
He's Green Goblin and Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire. Look up Willem Dafoe. You know him. He's in Clear and Present Danger, the Jack Ryan movie.
I'll look him up later because if I haven't heard of him, I need to do a lot of research.
All right. Well, Willem Dafoe, good actor, older. He's like probably 60.
So I guess
be an older Joker.
Okay, I'll look.
I think they're gonna do. I think they're working Joaquin into Pattinson's movies.
Oh yeah, I think he will be in there. I'm not saying. I think. By the way, having the Steelers as the Gotham City footballers was paying homage to Michael Keaton since he's a Steelers fan.
He is?
So, yes. So
that's cool.
He's
the best Batman.
He is the best Batman. But yes, but Danny DeVito. Okay, I'm going to say the tie for the two best villains right now in Batman movies. I'm going to leave out 1966 because that's an all-star cast. But in the modern, so post-1989, it is a tie between Danny DeVito as Penguin and Heath Ledger.
No, Ledger knocks him out of the water. No, Ledger. I don't care.
It was great.
I don't care. Ledger.
We'll give Ledger the edge, but Danny DeVito was fantastic.
All right, I'll let you do the edge. Okay? And he blows him out of the water, Quinn.
That's my opinion, all right? Okay. All right, time to get happy.
And you said it was bad putting Adam West over Bale, and you're putting Danny DeVito on the same level as Heath Joker.
As Heath Ledger?
Ledger Joker.
Okay, but
Ledger's Joker's like
you gotta think
one of the best movie villains, period.
No, I agree, but you got to think it's also a different. There's the characters are supposed to be different. Penguin, he's supposed to be this thrown away baby and into the sewers, and he's living with the penguins, and that's all he's known.
Yeah, but there's two interpretations.
Wildlife.
There's two interpretations of Penguin. There's the mobster interpretation they like to do more now, and then there's more of the freak show, which is what they did. And I actually prefer the mobster one. I think that one's very interesting.
Well, the mobster one where he has the umbrella that shoots the bullets out of it.
Yeah, like they're doing in the new Pattinson movie with Colin Farrell.
Right. I mean, well, I guess the thing is, too, Joker, obviously he's supposed to be intentionally humorous somewhat. And the thing is supposed to be he's so serious even though he's supposed to be humor because he's had a depressed life. I mean, we saw that backstory in the Joker movie. So I'm just saying it's two different worlds. So
Would you say Joaquin Phoenix's Joker is better than DeVito's Penguin? Come on, he won an Oscar for it.
For sure, Danny DeVito won an Oscar.
He did not win an Oscar for being Penguin.
Looking it up.
He did not win an Oscar. I know for a fact he did not win an Oscar.
You don't know what's going on with Danny
for being
DeVito.
Penguin. He did not win an Oscar for being Penguin.
You don't know what's going on.
Batman Returns did not win an Oscar, Quinn. There's no way. No, he didn't.
I haven't. Hold on.
There's
I gotta
no
find
way.
him. I can't ever find him on here.
He didn't win an Oscar. He didn't win an Oscar. Oh my. They were gonna give out
accolades. The Academy Awards is his Oscar.
Best visual effects and best makeup.
Well,
they were nominated.
No Danny DeVito.
No Danny DeVito.
He was nominated for the Golden Raspberry for the worst supporting actor. So I guess I lost there. But
did he win?
No, he was nominated. That means he lost.
Oh man.
It means he might be worse than that. Time to get happy, people. Happy 46th birthday, Alex Cora. Alex Cora, who's played 14 seasons in the MLB as a player. He played for the Boston Red Sox, Los Angeles Dodgers, Cleveland Indians, Texas Rangers, Washington Nationals, and the New York Mets. He came back into the MLB as the manager of the Red Sox in 2018 and won a franchise record 108 wins in one season. He was suspended for the 2020 season, pandemic shortened, after being implicated by the sign-stealing scandals with the Houston Astros, where he was a coach then. He was brought back for the 2021 season and skated into the playoffs in the AL wildcard, and right now has his Red Sox competing for a pennant in the American League. Anything to say about Alex Cora?
I mean, we might be seeing him in the World Series. That's surprising.
That's right. Happy anniversary to the Sorta Sports Podcast.
Oh,
Sorta Sports Podcast had its first episode last Thursday, 1 year ago on October 14th. It has currently two different platforms of shows. It's got the Sorta Sports Podcast, which now has 17 episodes after being released after the 1 year anniversary of Ryan's commentary on NBA, MLB, uniforms, and much more. And it has this platform too, The Big Salad, which it has 2 seasons with 13 episodes total after this mega episode, and includes discussion of the week's sports topics with Gwen and Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, I don't do a lot of NFL anymore on the regular show because we go very deep NFL on this show. It's the same reason I don't do a ton of college basketball either. That's really where we specialize, and it's been a fun journey since randomly picking this up and thinking it'd be fun, and now we've kind of got our own little shindig we got going on, so it's kind of fun.
That's true. And finally, a little bit of a melancholy trails to Kareem Hunt. He was injured in yesterday's Browns-Cardinals game with a calf injury and has been placed on injured reserve immediately after the game. So it looks like Kareem will be out at least for the next 3 weeks minimally.
Not good for the
Browns
running back
Broncos,
core.
Steelers, and I don't know who they played in the third week. So, all right, it's time for the big finish. You ready?
Yep.
Well, quick update on the records. So last week,
oh boy,
as I magically told the fortune of in the first half of the mega
impressive.
episode, I went 5-1 last week in the picks. My only loss being the Chargers, and Ryan went 2-4, sadly.
Yikes.
So maybe he can pick it up. Overall, I'm 12-4. Ryan is 9-7. So let's see if he can pick it up here in the big finish for this week. And here we go for the NFL. Monday Night Football tonight, Titans versus Bills.
I'm taking the Bills. They've been hot, and I like what Josh Allen's been doing.
I agree. It's the Bills because the Titans defense cannot restrain that offense there. For Week 7, first Thursday Night Football, Browns versus the Broncos.
Got to be Browns. If they don't win this, maybe they're not a contender.
I think I got to go with the Broncos. Baker is hurting from that shoulder injury. I don't think he's going to be able to really effectively throw the ball. The Broncos have a decent defense. Chubb, he's still injured. Is he going to be back? And now Hunt on the IR might really restrict them. Titans Chiefs on Sunday.
Chiefs. The Chiefs have fallen off, but I don't think they're going to lose to the Titans. I feel like the Titans beat all the bad teams and lose to the good teams, and I think they're going to keep that up.
The reason I'm going to take the Titans is because Derrick Henry's going to run all over that porous
Rushing defense.
That could happen. So as that gets going, and maybe the play action game gets going for Tannehill, I think the Titans take the win. Ravens versus Bengals.
You got to take the Ravens. They've been hot.
I'm going to take the Bengals,
actually. Oh, my gosh.
I'm going to take a big bet on the Bengals here. Let's see if Burrow can come away with a big win in Baltimore. And finally, Buccaneers versus Bears.
There's no way the Bears win this. Go Bucs on this one.
I got to go with the Buccaneers. Thinking this year, Tom Brady will not forget what down it is against the Bears. And that's it for the big finish. We hope to see you next time. Quick shout out. You got a quick shout out?
Thank you, Robert Pattinson and Matt Reeves, for giving us a very exciting Batman trailer. I'm really excited for the new movie.
All right. Happy 500th episode to Law & Order SVU. It premieres this Thursday on NBC. Thank you and good night from the mega episode. This is Quinn Maseko speaking for the Big Salad Podcast, a Ryan Klinger production. Please note that portions of this podcast were edited before the final cut was produced, and this episode was recorded on October 18th. The sections of What's the Word and Happy Time are copied from the ESPN show Pardon the Interruption, and there was no intention to infringe on the copyrights of these segments and their related music. Stay tuned for our next podcast next Monday here on the Sort of Sports Podcast YouTube channel.